Jahmyr Gibbs. Breakout season loading.
Inside the 5, Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown.
Woodward Sports, the most dominant Detroit sports coverage around.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Braylon Edwards, and it is Friday. Welcome to Friday. You made it. Let that be the energy right there. You made it to Friday. So did the crew. Oh, somebody's excited. You see him over there. You know him well. He is my guy, my right hand. What's the word? Kool-Aid, Brandon Dent in the building. How you feeling?
You already know what I'm going to say. Y'all got to smash that like button because, chat family, y'all are the best part of Woodward Sports and the Braylon Edwards Show. I'm fired up to be here. Definitely fired up, hot and fired up.
Now, I wonder why I was loud as hell, man. I had my AirPods in instead. I'm like yelling over the microphone. Yo, it's Friday. Turn up.
I like the energy, man.
When's the last time you and I worked the desk together?
It reminded me of DJ Be Easy, man.
Hey, on the ones and twos, getting it cracking. Speaking of the audio booth, Sweet Potato Cam is joining us this Friday. How you feeling?
Hey, yo, what's good? I am good. Just want to give a shout out to, happy Friday though, but I want to give a shout out to my youngest brother for hooking it up on this nice tea here.
Hey, shout out to little
skin.
bro.
Yeah, appreciate you. Look,
I feel like the little bros always get the fitness right, man. My little brother Berkeley, man, shout out to him. He's doing his fitness gang as it relates to Beast Now apparel, and it is legit. It is fire. Actually, the heavyweights have some of his stuff, so shout out to them. B Lad, join us in the building. What's the word? Wide receiver number 2, a.k.a.
What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
Oh, see, he on that smooth stuff. He's got the low hat. He's got the dark shirt on, the dark pants, got the smooth energy.
Black on black.
Hey, what's going on?
Black's
How y'all doing out
color.
there? You know what I'm saying? That's like Usher. You got the Usher energy going on right now. These are my confessions. Justin Satawa, fresh off the Spider-Man movie. Jay, we got to start there with you. I saw it as well, but I want to give you the floor first. What say you, who's also rocking Spider-Man gear 2 days in a row? Shout out to Spider-Man. And that is one of the hats that they had if you saw it yesterday, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Great movie. My favorite live-action Spider-Man of all time. If you haven't been able to see it, I highly recommend it. It is a great watch, great pacing, gut-wrenching story, and that's all I'm going to say.
1,000%. I thought it was really, really, really well done. We won't spoil it. No spoiler alerts here. But I thought, for me, the biggest thing, Spider-Man's always been your friendly neighborhood spider. And that friendliness is he's a high school student. He's a kid. I feel like in this one you see an evolution a little bit in him. He becomes older. So the fight scenes, they reflect that. That's all I'll say. That's the last thing I'll say. It is a more mum's the word. The movie was really good. I liked it. It was well done. Spider-Man is him.
I haven't seen it yet. Could you use the word grit?
Yeah.
Was it gritty?
It's
the fight scenes?
I feel like whenever you use the word darker, people instantly go to the darkest part of dark and things of that nature. It is a darker Spider-Man, but he's not a dark person. It's just he's darker. He's evolving. He's aging, if you will. So just that.
I can't wait to see this one.
Detroit has always got to get that grit in there somewhere. Y'all Lions fans, is it grit? Is it gritty? What have you been saying this week, man? I know you haven't been here on the show, but you've been watching Lions Camp. A lot of sound, a lot of things have come out. What have you heard? What have you paid attention to thus far? Because we haven't had a chance to talk to you, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, definitely. I got to sit down with Lomas Brown at Schoolcraft College where he was
Big
doing
Long,
his
the big fella.
The big fella, man. It was the lowdown with Lomas Brown. We called it the Lomas Report. So Lions only media all season, man. And he can't wait to get on here and rap with you a couple times a week. But we actually talked about, I think, some of the top questions. One was on Jahmyr Gibbs. One was on his confidence in Kelvin Shepherd. And then his confidence on Drew Petzing, which that one was surprising to me. I got to let you hear this audio later.
Okay.
I don't think he's too locked in right now with Petzing. He's in a wait-and-see approach. But then the other one, Lomas Brown, he's been to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Giants and the Bucs. He won one with the Bucs. I asked him, do the Lions pass that Super Bowl smell test for you this year? He believes that they do. So it's been pretty cool to kind of get his perspective as well, his takeaway on the team. Effectively, do you believe, despite the secondary issues that are going on, that this team can still overcome? And to get his takes, I'm gonna save some of that. Y'all keep tabs on Woodward socials as that content is posted as well. But it's been a pretty cool week, at least rocking with him. In addition to the crossover stuff, Tim Hardaway, Lindsey Hunter, T-Mac and those guys with OBL Hoops, 101 basketball. We're trying to bring it to the city.
Let's get it.
I'm trying to make sure it gets here before my knees don't work no more, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey, look, got
we-
another birthday coming up.
We still need Kool-Aid that dropped 54 on River Rouge. You know what I'm saying? We need that Kool-Aid to bring it back. It's funny
Let's
that you
go.
mentioned that about Loam as it relates to the wait-and-see approach, talking about Drew Petzing, talking about Mike Kafka, how it will all come together. Because Satawa and I and B-Lad and Sweet Potato and Anson, shout out to Anson, may you have safe travels and may you have an amazing weekend. Anson,
Shout
nobody
out
works
to us.
harder at the network.
out, A-Dub.
Glad you got a chance to get out of here for a day. But getting back into it, I feel like the wait-and-see approach is a real one, and it's an honest one. It's a wait-and-see approach because we talked about the offensive line. Everybody looking to their right is playing with somebody new, somebody to their next position. Takes a second to get that chemistry together. You got 2 offensive coordinators. You got to see what is Mike Kafka. I've heard so much about what Drew Petzing is and what he's bringing in terms of the 13 and 12 and how he's going to get that implemented and bring back the physical run. But you're still trying to wait and see. This is still a new coach. And when you look at the defensive side of it, it's new positions, it's new spaces. Rocky Seam for right now is your starter. DJ Reed is expected to have another big year. Alim Mcneill, who will have something on in a moment, went down today, had to leave practice early. What's the defensive line look like? The wait-and-see approach by Lomas is a real one because legitimately we are having to wait and see.
And you know what he said, too? He was like, you know what, last year, it was surprising to hear this from Lomas, of all people. He was like, the reason why I'm a little skeptical and a little bit of, like you said, the wait-and-see hold approach is he was like, I was told last year that John Morton, he said who the team was calling J-Mo. He said they were calling Johnny Morton. He was like, there was one J-Mo, but whatever.
Right.
He was like, and they told me that he was going to be the guy to work this thing out, that he was the guy that was a part of the foundation, and you look how that turned out. So he was like, he's not just going to go with the flow on just any one thing. He does believe that there is a lot to Ben Johnson being a Wizard. Not that you take away the fact that Dan Campbell selected him. He still gets that credit. But it's not like anybody you roll into that position is going to be Ben Johnson just because Dan selected them.
Not trying to bash Dan Campbell, not trying to turn this, beginning of the show as we welcome you guys in. Excited that you can be with us on this beautiful Friday. It's Friday, like we said. Justin, I come to you. Is it concerning a little bit, though, that it seems every time Dan Campbell comes to the podium and he's talking about a coach or he's talking about a player not named J-Mo, it seems like you get coach speak, Justin and B-Lad. Tell me your thoughts on that.
I mean, I did think it was a little bit of coach speak, but I think that there was some a little bit nice tidbits in there that I think gave you some valid insights into camp and what's going on. I liked a couple of things. I didn't listen to everything. I kind of like to get the first listen on the show, to be honest, and that's just me personal thing. But I'm excited. It was a great day at camp today. Other than the injuries, I heard some great things out of some veterans who need to step up. B-Lad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we all know how it is in the summer. It's a little early. Obviously, you'd like to see or you like to hear more good than bad. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't think these injuries, as far as McNeil and Roller go, are too significant to where they're going to miss a whole lot of time. Yet I haven't read up on that as a whole yet as well either. I just kind of heard the news break this morning. But, yeah, I mean, it's early. I mean, exciting stuff to hear, especially going into camp. Like I said, you'd rather hear more positives than negatives going into camp for sure, because that kind of translates to what you'll see in the preseason as well.
Alim going down, heard the news today. Alim Mcneill left practice early. We don't know the full report. Well, Alim Mcneill went down today.
Oh, yeah, neck
injury 100%. Alim Mcneill went down today.
It's too early.
Walked off on his own, if I will.
Yes.
We don't know exactly what's going on, but, just a precautionary measure. We don't know what's going on, so it's not about the injury side of things. When you hear something like that, and I want everybody to chime in, it's okay, Sweet Potato, we'll figure it out. Is this when you hear Alim, and now you realize that Mekhi Wingo replaced him for the rest of practice, drafted out of LSU 3 years ago, do you start to wonder, I wonder what Vita Vea looks like in this uniform? Because I'm not going to lie. As soon as I heard Alim Mcneill went down, first thing I thought about, Vita. I didn't even know how bad the injury is. I say that to say, is that a thought process if you're on that staff?
I mean, I think it should be, but I don't think Vita Vea would want to play for Detroit. I think the most recent statements that came out, it's like L.A. West Coast. He said the Raiders too.
He's pulling a Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
the Raiders? Never mind. It's not Dylan Larkin.
He said it was like anything. I think anything West Coast is what I think he was saying. It was like Raiders, Chargers, teams like that nature. I mean, we know the track record, but at the same time, it's like obviously we would love Vita.
You still got to make the call, though. You still got to, get in the business. That's all I want.
Yeah, if as long as they make an attempt, then I'll be happy.
But you know
like,
what?
Take my hand and let's go dancing. Give me some Vita Vea, baby.
You know what? I used to be on that, like, just make the call. But then, you know what started happening here in Detroit is, you get a little saucy. Balls right inside out.
Give me some Vita Vea.
I feel like his contract is kind of ugly.
Sounds good. I used to be on that. But then it sounded like Brad was calling everybody, but not really presenting any information. Not really trying to get the individuals. Just calling people just to say, hey, Detroit fans, I called. Like, I don't want you to just call.
You say he just knocking, ringing the doorbell, and out of there.
Like, dude, I'm out. I rung the doorbell, I called, then I took off. I don't want that. If you're going to make a legit situation for a player that we know is affordable, then make that true call. Don't just call just to call and tell us, hey, look, we called, blah, blah, blah. Make the call to call.
And what a good poll out of the chat here is from Ken Mark. Detroit has Vita Vea's old D-line coach.
See, that's why. Well, that's why the chat is the most important part of the show. Appreciate you. There's a tie, and you know the Lions are not afraid of having ties. How many times have you seen a player play for the Detroit Lions because of Dan Campbell, because of Brad Holmes, because of another coach on the staff? That's kind of the Lions' makeup a little bit.
Yeah, definitely part of their makeup. And obviously, when it's Alim Mcneill, I'm glad you prefaced it. We don't know the severity, and I would rather them be way safer than sorry, especially with the starters supposedly going to be in preseason this year, which is a difference from the rest of the way that Dan Campbell's done things during the preseason. So keep them healthy, but it's definitely not what you want to hear, especially when it's the guy that's giving the money. We're right now waiting on guys like Kirby Joseph, who have been given the bread as well. And so when you hear this from Alim Mcneill, it's already concerning when you're starting off the season with your defense a little banged up. But if Dan Campbell has a firm grip on this thing, I do believe this team will have what they need schematically, we hope, to be able to overcome some of these types of things if they carry over into the season.
Just interested to see what type of injury was it. B-Lad, been a former football player yourself, legit. When you get injuries, is this something that was a groin, a hamstring, something chill as it relates to this year, as it relates to something new? He's walking off the field, his own merit. Cool, we'll get you some ice, we'll get you some stim, we'll get you back on the practice field tomorrow, the next day. Or is this something that is extending to that ACL that he came back from last year? That would be my question right now.
Yeah, I believe the report said that he had it was something to do with his neck. He had a neck injury, so I think, I don't know what the specific title of the injury was, if it was just a strain or something like that.
Don't go playing with the neck. That's also
it's a very sketchy area, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing where I know teams like to take a lot of precaution, especially head and neck area. We've been seeing more injuries of those a lot more frequently than we have before. So, I mean, I know it's camp, and I know how injuries happen in camp.
It happens.
They will nurse you good. You will be fine. They usually take your time with you in camp. If you've already proven that you are a solidified, serviceable player, like Alim Mcneill is, I don't feel like this should be overwhelming to people. I think he'll just do his recovery and he'll be back out as soon as possible. That's just the kind of clock that even Dan and you see the coaching staff have with a lot of other players as well. So
fair enough. Let's stick with the defensive line. Let's ask about another player. He plays on the outside. He will be on the right side on the outside. Derek Moore, apparently right now at camp, he's having a pretty good camp so far. A lot of news about him. Excited to see what that right edge that we clamored for, that we asked Brad Holmes about, that he trolled us on, finally drafting Derek Moore this year in the second round. How important is it, Kool-Aid, Derek Moore? How important is it that he's successful for this defensive line?
I'm fired up for him. We've been asking Brad to make these types of investments. You saw him go at least marginally and bring something in to try and bolster that other line in free agency. And then you take a swing on a Derek Moore, and not just a swing. He put some capital and some investment into him and moved up to get him. So it makes me excited.
Move up, Brad.
You know what? It makes me more excited than whatever we did in the year that we took cornerbacks first and second. So I think that this one is going to work out a whole lot. I think this is going to work out a lot better, bro. I'm excited, not just because he went to Michigan. Obviously, go blue. But I believe that he possesses a certain skill set and a talent that's going to pair very well when you're talking about who's on the other side of that as well, and Aiden Hutchinson. So Derek Moore possesses all the skill and talent, but now you're talking about releasing or unleashing him, hopefully facing a lot less than what Aiden Hutchinson will be facing.
Can we see a how do I phrase this for you, B-Lad? Will we see a big jump from Derek Moore from where he was at Michigan last year to where he'll be when the season starts with new coaches, with new program. And the reason why I mentioned that, news came out of Big Ten Media Day, and we'll get into that in the second half of the show. But one of the things that was talked about, Sweet Potato Cam, I appreciate you, is a strength and conditioning program. Legitimately, strength and conditioning, the new guy at Michigan, he came in and said that, for lack of a better word, they didn't know what the hell they were doing in Ann Arbor, and the strength wasn't there, and that they had to rebuild the program and rechange some things. How much is that going to help Demo coming to the Lions, getting the strength and conditioning program together, being under Aiden as well as Shep and under this system? How well is that going to help him take that jump?
Yeah, and I feel like NFL coaches, too, would have an eye for that. Like, as soon as he's in the building and he's going through team workouts and stuff like that, they would definitely adjust to what they see. As far as my expectations go, to be honest with you, they're very neutral. It's not like an Aiden Hutchinson edge, you know what I'm saying, where, you draft him in the top 5. This is a second-round edge that, he has some competition that he's fighting for in camp. So my expectations are neutral, but I do feel like he has the potential to step up in a big role, and obviously I hope he makes every snap, makes the most out of every snap he gets, because I know he's probably going to be splitting time within his first couple of weeks in the NFL. That's my expectation. I'm not saying that's going to happen. He may be winning the starting job right now, and we just, we don't know it yet. We don't know what the coaching staff's really thinking. It's still very early. Could I see it? Yeah, I could. But at the same time, I could also see it going the opposite way. Like, it's very neutral for me. I'm very in the middle. I do like him as a player, and I think, off the field, too, he has the right mentality for this. But, yeah, like I said, I feel like, as far as where he came from at Michigan, the coaches in the NFL, that's their job to recognize that and catch that early, so they can make adjustments on the fly and get him ready for, to go out there and take team reps in camp.
Justin, whether you move up 20 picks to go get a Jameson Williams or you move up 4 picks in the second round to go get Derek Moore, moving up is moving up. It says something. Does Brad Holmes have to be right on this pick with Derek Moore because of it? Because this is the first edge not named Aiden Hutchinson that you drafted.
Well, I think that the resume of perfect drafting has kind of been a little in the rearview mirror lately, as there's been some questionable decisions lately, and he needs to get back on track. Like, the way that you are able to make these jumps when you are a team like the Lions who need a lot from their rookies. Like, you look at the Eagles when they went DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and how that transcended their team to the next level and made their defense into the powerhouse it was. Like, they needed those two guys to finish what they were building. We need another edge out next to Hutch that can truly be like a 3-down guy. Like, yeah, we've had some gimmick guys. Like, that's what I think of James Houston and of AQM. Like, they're just gimmick pass rushers who only can really play on 3rd down. Like, that's not what we need. We need guys who can help set the edge. And that's what I like about Derek Moore. Derek Moore is very good at setting the edge. And he's also, 10 sacks last year in Michigan is no slouch either. Like, obviously there is a step up in the pro level, but also there's more games. That's why, like, I think, like, I know I keep saying, like, I'm not a stats guy when it comes to, like, what Derek Moore is going to do for his defense, but, like, I'm still thinking, like, 5.5 sacks. Like, that's kind of what I'm expecting from him. If him and DJ Warren can both give you 5 sacks each, like, that's 10 sacks opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I would take that all day, every day of the week.
Especially when you're talking about replacing, everybody's favorite AQM, Mr. We're Good. When I look at what he was able to do opposite of Aiden Hutchinson is where I do get excited about what they did to bring in some potential and to bring in some veteran presence this free agency and in the draft at the edge position. I do believe that they're in an overall better position there. That's where I really harp on, I guess, the lack that we have in the secondary, because I felt like things were finally starting to line up to a very balanced defense, especially when you look at the defensive line. You're looking at an Aiden Hutchinson who I do believe is going to be motivated to build on this year now, coming clean, a whole offseason where it's about just working on getting better and not working on rehab and having injuries in the back of your mind and comebacks and all that. And then on the other side of that, you're looking at, Derek Moore, who I believe if all the pressure was on him, if he was the guy we were depending on, like we're just finally taking an edge and we didn't have a Hutch here, I'd probably be a lot less, optimistic about what he can be. But when you look at the skill set he does possess and the things I think translate right away in terms of that bull rush ability, while Hutch is probably attracting a lot of attention, is where I do believe he has an opportunity to do some of the things that AQM was able to do. And like Justin said, you stumble up into getting similar amount of sacks between that side opposite of Hutch as you got underneath AQM. But I do believe he possesses, honestly, just the potential to give you even more than what AQM did in time. I think that he has this first half of the NFL season probably look like this guy's catching up to NFL speed, and then beyond that, hopefully hitting the ground running beyond.
Are we completely overlooking DJ Wanham? Are we completely overlooking him in the sense?
I think so.
And I think so too. When you listen to Dan coming out of camp, coming out of mini camp, coming out of when they first picked him, they like DJ Wanham. They like the size. They like the length. They like what he was been in the past for Carolina Panthers. They said a lot of things about him. I don't necessarily know. They're just bringing him in to prep Derek Moore versus they believe in what he can be. Maybe 3 years ago, 8 sack DJ Wanham.
Yeah, and that's the whole point there too. And he even mentioned like the entire room looks different. Like the entire room is big now, and they were a little undersized the last 2 years with Kaminsky and a couple other guys that I'm blanking on names. But I did look at the comparison between 2024, 2025, and then now this year's depth chart. We did upgrade the size a whole lot. The thing is we need a dominant 3-down edge opposite of Hutch. Like that's a no-brainer. We need to generate pressure on that side of the field regardless. So, like, the expectations for this coaching staff and for Derek Moore and DJ Wanham combined, like, we need to have some solidified edge presence on that side. To me, it's like I really do hope. And there's, I've been on it for the last couple weeks now. I've been optimistic, and I've been, a little down on the Lions as far as their defensive presence
you be hating, man.
I'm not even trying to hate. I want them. Like, listen,
man.
I hope I am wrong. I hope I am wrong when I say all these things. I hope you guys understand that, because I want the same thing that you guys want. I want them to win. I want them to be successful. I want a ring. Like, I've been clamoring that forever. But at the same time, we are allowed to hold them accountable.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Over the last couple years, we've had hole after hole on defense getting exposed on that and ultimately costing us on some pretty crucial moments. Yeah, our offense is great, but our defense is the only thing that concerns me, and that's the thing that drove me to say the things that I said, especially in a division that's super strong. Yeah, you could talk about the schedule, but it's really only guaranteed 2 to 3 wins. There's no auto win in the NFL. This isn't college football where the spreads are 42.5. Like, this is like everybody is good.
I'm pretty
Everyone
sure
gets
the
paid
Jets
to do
are
it.
an auto win,
No,
buddy.
well, yeah, that's what I said. 2 to 3 auto wins. Yes, I understand that. But, like, as far as the rest goes, it's not everything's not a gimme. And so that's why I really do hope, and I really do passionately, I want this team to do good. I want the edge to be fixed. Like, that's what I want. But at the same time, I can't help myself to think of the track record and be like, all right, I'm neutral. I'm going to sit back and wait, stop talking until it happens.
At the end of the day, until you show me.
Correct.
And that's fair. Until you show me. A lot of fans have that point of view. A lot of them do not, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. I think it's right. Justin said his name first, so we'll give him some credit. And you say, are we talking enough about DJ Wanham? And I do wonder, how does that factor into, Derek Moore's season this year? As it relates to DJ Wanham, I'm wondering, is it the run game aspect that we're looking for him to be more effective as Derek Moore continues to improve in that aspect of his game?
Well, one of the best things about him in terms of bringing DJ Wanham in is he sets the edge for them. Sets the edge, long arms, is able to play the pass, play it to the sideline, and then he does fit in the run game. That was one of the reasons why they went and got him. Somebody that's not just playing on passing downs, not just playing on first down, he can be out there the whole length of the time. He's a 3-down type guy. That's one of the reasons that DJ Wanham attracted. Whether you believe it or not, yeah, that's on you. That's what Dan Campbell said. And when you look at some of the film, some of DJ Wanham film is legit. He does play the run. He does play the pass about the same.
So when he gets hurt, how do you want to bet that people start calling him Marcus Davenport Jr.?
Oh, you already know. The only
first time he ends up on even questionable.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, "Oh, here we go, Marcus Davenport 2.0. We're doing this again."
I feel that, but I'm glad that you both of y'all brought up DJ Wanham, and because when you start to talk about it, you paired it with your statements of what we need at the edge position, especially consistency, at least to be out there 3 downs. That is one where I'm wondering. I'm seeing some of the chat who are saying, look, these are big asks for Derek Moore in year one.
Yeah.
And that is where I'm wondering, DJ Wanham, Lions still have a lot of, expectation as it relates to not just making it to the playoffs, but trying to compete for a Super Bowl. And that's why I asked the question. Like, I do wonder now, what does a guy like DJ Wanham and how well he does through training camp and at the start of the season, does that mess with the mix of what DJ Mars is going to be able to do in total? Not that he won't have some type of impact, but now it does make me honestly that much more bullish about what this Detroit Lions defensive line can be, because you need it to be nasty. You need it to be official. When you see all the question marks that have popped up in the secondary, we thought, okay, with the injuries, whatever, we can move some things around, TA, whatever. Now it's like, okay, you're going to need this defensive line and Jack Campbell and co. to really, really, really be after it. And it does at least make me a little bit more encouraged, knowing that we have, I think, our best, maybe our potentially our best tandem or room with when you're talking about the Detroit Lions edge rushers.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where the schedule comes into play. And that's when you look at early on in the season, be able to get active. I know they play the Buffalo Bills in week 2, but you look at the Saints in week 1, you look at the Jets in week 3. As you see, I'm wearing my Jets.
One of those outer wins, as B-Lad called it?
I'm going to be on the sideline talking that ish. I'm going to be on the sideline talking stuff, because Lions didn't get me field passes, but the Jets did.
We'll allow it with the Jets, because they treat you well.
Don't mess around and let Geno Smith have a day.
But look, you can't do this with the Browns, though.
But no, I would never do that. But what I'm saying is that early on schedule, that Tyler Shuck, that Geno Smith, these are games and these are spaces where you can show, improve, and build some of that trust with the defensive, and 100%, but build some trust with the defensive coordinators. Trust is a major factor. It's one of the things why Dan Campbell's favorite player, I'll let you figure it out as we go into the break, he feels this could be a really good year for him coming off his first full season last year as Detroit wide receiver number 2. We'll get a commercial break in, and when we come back, we'll have more on the Detroit Lions. Let's talk about Planet Fitness. As you see, Planet Fitness, our longest tenure sponsor. We love them so much because we understand that your fitness is essential, so why not do it at Planet Fitness? Now, their gyms are squeaky clean, their memberships are ready for you, and there's trainers on staff. There's no judgment at Planet Fitness. 2,700 gyms around the country where there's no judgment. 54 in great state of Michigan. This is the place, man. This is where people are getting active. Come see like-minded individuals like yourself, and the like-mindedness is, I understand that fitness is essential. So come do it at Planet.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Justin Satawa, let me tell you about All Day IPA. They've been around for 15 years. Limited edition cans this summer only. Look at that beautiful can. But there's nothing more beautiful than a refreshing beer on a great summer day. It's hot right now in the studio. I might go grab myself one of those because I need something to take the edge off. They pioneered it and made it last. So make sure you tap in with Founders today at Art and Jake's near you.
And if you are tired of fumbling for your glasses or dealing with the daily hassle of contacts, it is time to take control of your vision with Yaldo Eye Center. And I'm telling y'all, when I was watching the 04 Pistons do their thing, this commercial was on, and it had Richard Hamilton on there, and that dude never missed a free throw. So I'm telling you, winners, they go there. You got to go there, too. They got over 30 years of experience and 100,000 procedures. They are the trusted experts. Their LASIK surgery is completely painless. It takes 8 minutes, and recovery is so fast that most patients are seeing 20/20 the very next day. And right now, they got the summer promotion going on. You see it there for $16.99 per eye. You want to take advantage of that while you can. Wake up with clear vision. Book your consultation with Yaldo Eye Center today at yaldoeyecenter.com/1699.
Veteran safety group you kind of got right now, Izzy and Maddox, Clark, Matt Harper.
The JMO clip. That's all I was saying.
Yes.
the J-Mo clip. I want to talk about Jameson Williams. He is in year 5. What is he going to be this year? This is going to be the year for him. A lot of people think so, including his head coach, Dan Campbell, had this to say about wide receiver number 2 for the Detroit Lions.
I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, true. There's some good questions coming out of this because yep, go ahead.
What are the chances that any of those guys compete for the nickel? I think they all have experience there, but do you see those guys all getting a shot at that position?
So, really, the plan was
going into last season. I mean, even the conversation continued to be about his kind of potential, but how much did last year go towards, just validating who he is just because of, some of the stuff he had to overcome during the first half of the season as far as line of targets and all that?
Yeah, you're talking about J-Mo. Yes. I think last year was big in his growth. It's really the most complete year he's had, right? And, man, he got to, he played every game. Man, he had some critical plays, critical targets for us. Certainly got a good, pretty good heavy dose there towards the back end of the year. And you can't help but your confidence goes up. The more plays you make, the more your confidence goes up. But I'll say that he's doing all the little things right. That's where he's made the most growth, man. Watch his route definition, man. Watch the details to it, him dropping his weight, man, him pulling out, playing strong, catching the ball, reaching out, plucking. And so with his ability, man, the sky's the limit. And that's what you're starting to see. And that began to happen, and it became much more consistent. And then Goff, his confidence goes way up. And now he can let the ball loose a little bit sooner. And so, look, he's going to have a big year for us. All those skill guys are going to have a big year for us. So, man, I love where he's at. He picked up where he left off at the end of the season. I thought he improved in spring, and it looks like 2 days in, he's where he left off in spring, man. I love where he's at.
That I was having via social media or via our show with Waymo's father is the fact that I believe this guy can be everything that you guys believe he can be and more. So when Dan Campbell comes to the podium, he's talking about he got better in the spring. He's continued where he was in the spring and even gotten better. He's doing all the little things right. He's building that more trust. When that's the things that I'm talking about. That's where I was talking about in that clip where I say, look, if he gets a hold of all those things, if he taps in between the ears on everything, he can be a special player, Kool-Aid.
And you know what, man? Because it just brings up a lot of different questions.
He is a special player.
He is. But there's a lot of special players on this team. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this squad, and I do wonder, when you hear Dan Campbell speaking, I hear a certain confidence in him. It's not a hopeful talk. It's almost one of a proven one. Like, I see him this year. I see what he's doing. I do wonder, how much of that, in terms of what you're hearing is cap or just press conference talk, or is the real deal? Because he did say something that caught my ear as it relates to that confidence that Jared Goff is, that confidence rising amongst Jared Goff.
There you go.
Like, that one caught my ear.
Thing one, J-Mo, can we all agree that J-Mo is Dan Campbell's favorite player? Like, can we all agree that
him or Gibbs? It's him or Gibbs.
But see, he's been like Gibbs has just been great the whole time he's been here, and he's been quiet as a mouse watching anime and cooking on the football field. Meanwhile, Gibbs, J-Mo, there's been things, there's been places where they've had to overcome, and he's had to really be a coach.
His 1,000-piece model rocket set.
100.
I know what you're
there
talking
you go.
about.
So it feels like his favorite player. Now that was a hell of a metaphor right there. But this is what that means. When you see when you see Amon-Ra St. Brown and you see Jared Goff, like their trust, their chemistry, and everything they are simpatico. They are synchro 100%. And what that means is Jared Goff knows on every single play, whether it's designed for Amon-Ra St. Brown or not, he is going to be exactly where he is supposed to be. He is going to catch the ball 99% of the time. He is going to catch the ball, and he is going to make this offense better. When you do that, you trust guys. You throw the ball early. You throw the ball before they get there. You put the ball to where the spot is. You're able to do adjustment things. You're able to do things on the fly. You're able to have conversations in the huddle with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can do the same things with Sam Laporta. You can do these things and move forward. But with J-Mo, it's not necessarily that trust. It's trust enough. How many times have you seen Jared Goff underthrow J-Mo, and they've still been playing now 4 years, and he's still underthrown him. He's waiting for him to get to the spot, waiting to see if he's going to be able to do the things. If that trust goes up, like Dan Campbell is talking about, now you get a different relationship on the field from J-Mo and Jared Goff, and it looks a lot different. Last year, just to put it in perspective, and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
When it's Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, or it's Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, does it look any different? And Jalen Hurts isn't the best example, but just looking at the relationship, is it any different? No. But when you look at J-Mo and Jared, it's different than J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown. If they're getting to that level of chemistry, that level of trust, you will see a different wide receiver in a different conversation. And you see what he said at the end. This is going to be a big year from J-Mo. That's exactly what he said. I don't think he blows smoke when he's talking about J-Mo. Other people, yes. When he's talking about J-Mo, Way-Mo, he don't blow smoke.
Not at all, man. You look at the investment they put in him, the time that they drafted him, and you know what, Bray? You got on your JETS, Jets.
You know what time it is.
I got to ask
Game 3 this year. We ready.
Yeah. He said
we
he's
ready.
To the sideline
We ready.
Too. But I got to ask you, Bray. What has that process
I don't even know
been
who
like
on the team
that?
is right now. I'm joking. Kenyon Sadiq, watch out for him.
What was the process like for you as a wide receiver? You know, you put yourself, because, you know, as a young wide receiver, and then obviously you had, you know, different spurts of success. What was it like for you in terms of trying to develop that chemistry, in terms of what J-Mo might be seeing, or what you need to be seeing from him throughout training camp?
That's a great question. And it's one of those things where you look at year one, I missed 6 games because of injuries, but year one I come in with Trent Dilfer. You know, I didn't like Trent Dilfer, but I didn't understand how to be a professional fully. Like, it's not about me not liking Trent Dilfer. It's not about me liking the offensive system. It's about being there, being accountable, being on time, not going and doing the things after work or hanging out or doing the crazy things that would distract you from football. And Jameson went through some of those same type of deals. Things that take away from football. Look, I got paid, I got drafted to be a Cleveland Brown football player, not the other stuff. It took me a second that year one to now find that in year two. Year two, like J-Mo, I'm coming off injury. I was coming off an ACL injury, so now I'm dialed in a different way. Now there's, you know, am I going to be the same? You're going through those things, so you have these moments where you detach. And in year 3, I started to figure it out. I got to be here all the time. I got to be watching this film. I got to understand what concepts are. Now what just the X wide receiver does, I got to know what the Z and the Y and the A. I got to know what everybody does, because if I know the concept, I can be in better spots. I can have better success. I can better help this team. And I think as you get older, you start to realize what's the value? What am I here for? And I think that's what Dan Campbell is talking about. He's understanding. This is why I'm here. This is what it is. Hip displacement and things like that. He's cooking right now as a wide receiver, B-Lad.
Yeah, and that's one thing that hypes me up the most too. And you could tell last year he was molding into a complete wide receiver. He wasn't just taking the top off over the middle and running those seam routes and fade balls. We saw him working in the mid game and the short game as well, and he's actually been able to do so well in that and actually extend those type of plays, and that's what's special about him. And I think Kafka and Petzing know they have a weapon, and that's why Dan Campbell's saying all these things, because he sees the 7-on-7 and the team periods during the practices, and they're scheming up these plays together, and they're seeing Jameson Williams completely take the top. I mean, we saw some of the clips from the spring and like early summer where he was absolutely torching him on short drag, crossing routes, taking it to the crib, stuff like that. I expect to see stuff like that, and that's like his yards after catch is going to go up a whole lot too, I think, and it did last year, and it's been on his stats have been on an incline. So like I said, if they find ways to use him correctly, it's going to be scary for some defenses. I'm not going to lie. He's like the fastest receiver in the league.
Way to sneak that in there as it talks about what you said as it relates to. Dang it, I lost it. I was about to jump in with a point, but you're talking about Dan Campbell. Oh, excuse me. Way to bring that in there and tie it in, because what you heard Dan Campbell say is he likes Drew Petzing and Mike Kafka and what they're doing.
Right.
That's how I heard it, and whether he said it or not.
Yeah.
Jay, coming to you, the last thing I'll say about J-Mo, and we can move on, because J-Mo's not the only wide receiver that Dan Campbell had the pleasure of talking about. But as it relates to J-Mo, he's no longer a kid. And that's the thing. We love J-Mo. We look at him as the big kid on the team, and that's our Way-Mo. That's the guy hanging out, getting wings down, saying, integrating himself with the culture. That's big. Integrating himself with the culture. Like J-Mo's the guy cracking jokes, this, that, and the third. Way-Mo. This year 5. Justin, this is year 5. This ain't year 1. This ain't year 2. This isn't the gambling. This isn't the community. This is year 5. This is where he's got to come alive. Agreed?
Absolutely. And you know, you brought up Goff and you brought up St. Brown, and I have two things about each of them. St. Brown, he came in as an older college player, and he became a pro's pro very early in his career. He was forced into that role because there was no one really else in the wide receiver room outside of a couple veterans here and there. And then when you look at what you talked about earlier, you talked about Goff and St. Brown's connection, and I think it goes further than just Goff and St. Brown's connection. It's Goff and Laporta's connection. It's the way that he is willing to throw the ball, not necessarily into harm's way, but into riskier positions because he trusts St. Brown and Laporta to make those plays, specifically in the middle of the field and like in tighter coverage. So what I would love to see out of Jameson Williams, and what I believe to see, because it's going to look differently than for J-Mo. Like, he's not necessarily going to be challenging the middle of the field with J-Mo. He's going to be challenging the outside, and where you see, and like you said, where he's missed on him on a couple deep balls, where he's waiting for J-Mo to get to the spot, he's going to know that J-Mo's going to get to a spot downfield, and he's going to be able to throw and let J-Mo run into these balls. Like, that's what we saw with J-Mo at Alabama, is J-Mo would run under these balls that they just threw it out there for him because he's so fast and he's able to get that type of separation. I think that's the next level we're going to see. Yeah, he was great on deep routes, but he's going to be able to create some even more separation. Like, I think we're going to see even more mid crosses that he's going to take to the crib, more deep shots where Goff's going to have the confidence to throw it under him and let him run under it and make a play. Because I feel like there's a couple times last year where Goff, got a little gun shy and didn't want to throw it and test the DBs deep with J-Mo, and I think that's a wrinkle, especially with Kafka coming in, that's going to be explored, and the nuance that's going to be able to extend and make this offense just not, it's sort of say better because of where it was in efficient. 2023. But yeah, we'll say more efficient because it still looks different than it did in 2023 with the way different players have developed into different roles in this team. But we'll say the best versions of everyone around Jared Goff is possible in this season as 2025 rolls into it.
I like what you said, and realistically, thinking from a wide receiver point of view, man, you're absolutely right. When you look at J-Mo, when Jared Goff is throwing passes to him or when the pass play is dialed up for J-Mo, it's away from the defense. Like, if you're going deep routes, it's away from the defense. It's not in harm's way. I'm not necessarily risking a chance for interception or a bobbled pass that turns into an interception, a post route. You're throwing away from the defense. You talked about going on the outside. When you're throwing out routes and you're throwing comebacks, you're throwing away from the defense maturely. And that goes back to a little bit of the issue that he had last year, and that is where the trust is coming out. You have to say it out loud. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Dan Campbell is excited and proud of the way that he is catching the football. All right, okay, we'll go to a quick commercial break because, like I said, not the only wide receiver, not the only players that Dan talked about. More sound out of Detroit Lions camp. Camp is underway. How many days to the first game? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
45.
There we go. 40. Is it 45 or is it?
Yeah, we both said 45.
46 yesterday.
46 was Michigan yesterday, though, I thought.
Was it Michigan?
No.
It was Lions?
Because week 0 is 31 days away. So
45 days away. You know
Michigan would be
it is.
38 days away.
You know, why are you talking? Tell us about Water Hazard, please.
I will gladly tell you about Water Hazard. Water Hazard is a very first canned vodka cocktail from Founders. It's a vodka-based cocktail with 5% ABV that's citrusy, refreshing, and gluten-free. Best served over ice with a slice of lemon, preferably. Get $5 cans at any Art and Jake's location in Michigan on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But remember to drink responsibly.
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or Bust Lions network.
Finally, life-enhancing LASIK surgery at a price you can afford. Michigan's most experienced eye surgeon, Dr. Yaldo, is offering the most advanced LASIK at just $1,699 per eye, regardless of your prescription. Imagine not just being free from contacts and glasses, but actually seeing better without them. This limited 2026 spring offer is thousands less than others charge. Go to YaldoEyeCenter.com for your free evaluation and save.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Let me tell you about Gold Crown Cannabis Royal Jester's
I show you. You don't know nothing about no Gold Crown.
Total coated and keeps live resin infused. That's why I'm telling them about it. Kool-Aid.
I appreciate that.
GoldCrownExtracts.com. They're OG in the game. Been around for longer than I've been smoking weed. They are the royalist of royalty in the weed game. So make sure you tap in with Gold Crown today. Look, I went to Puff today. I went to Loom. I mean, you go anywhere, you're going to find some Gold Crown. So make sure you tap in today.
You know, he said he doesn't really like the moniker gadget guy. Just, he thinks of himself more as a playmaker. After seeing him, and obviously saw him before playing against him, but what do you think you have in him? How many different ways can he help you guys?
Maybe it's the way you're pronouncing it. Just say it a different way. Gadget or something. Did you see some of those returns yesterday? Those drills we had. I love Phipps. The 5-on-5. His return ability really showed up. And he wasn't the only one. We had a couple other guys that were pretty good, but that was it. That was really impressive. But there again, Dortch has got a history here with Petzing. So he knows what he's able to do. Certainly, we know what he's able to do from afar, just on tape. And so, for him, it's, man, where do you fit in at? We're going to need to be able to use you, rely on you. We feel pretty good so far about the return stuff, but there again, we got a whole camp to go. But we also got three pretty good receivers too right now at the top of this thing that we feel pretty good about, really good about. So, his is finding where do I fit into that and where can I make my mark. And no, it doesn't. I mean, look, we got plenty of guys that we can give a gadget to. I mean, Saint, we can give a gadget. We can give J-Mo a gadget. We can give Gibbs a gadget. So his is, man, where is that? What do I do best? Where can I fit into this? And just play receiver. So we think of him that way. He can play Z, he can play F.
I like that. He's absolutely telling the truth. I played with Josh Cribbs in Cleveland, who is a gadget-like player, if you will. I played with Brad Smith when I was with the New York Jets. Brad Smith was up for the Heisman when he was at Missouri all 3 years. They don't like that term gadget guys because these guys are football players that they played the game. Most of these guys are All-American at some position when they left college. So these guys don't play. They are not gadget guys. They're football guys. Welcome back to the show. That's Dan Campbell talking about Greg Dortch, who was picked up in the offseason from the Arizona Cardinals. Familiarity with Drew Petzing. I like what he said. He said, look, we got three big guns. We got our three big guns. Talking about Tesla, talking about St. Brown, talking about J-Mo.
I like how not to cut you off before we continue in the Dortch conversation, because I think it's important that we put it out there. I like that he said three big guns because he could have been only talking about J-Mo and St. Brown, two established weapons. Yeah. But then he talks about Tesla, who we all know has the potential. Obviously, you're very high on him, Braylon. Yeah. I think that really shows like another thing he's not blowing smoke about.
Definitely not blowing smoke, and I agree with that. Not a problem. You're never interrupting as it relates to the Greg Dortch situation. But he's like, get in where you fit in. And what that means is when we call your number, be serviceable. And I like that they have a guy that can switch it up. I like they got a guy that can go from 0 to 60. I like that they have a guy that's really good in those tight spaces, those small spaces, whether it's in the slot, whether it's wide receiver screens. Because there are going to be some games where he can be like that. He's the wild card. Like if you're looking at the Lions right now, you know what Jameson Williams brings to the table. You watch film, you know what Amon-Ra St. Brown brings to the table. Hell, you know what Isaac Tesla, to a certain effect, brings to the field. But Dortch, they can use him in spaces with Mike Kafka, who's also new. You got him with Jared Goff. It's going to be interesting. Shoot, I look at games like the Bills. That's an opportunity to do something funky, something that no one's seen before. I look at, obviously, our division opponents, the Bears, whether it's the Packers, and even a team like the Patriots. Like, those are spots for Greg Dortch in terms of being new to the team?
Yeah, what are we calling him now? Go Inspector Gadget?
Go Inspector.
Shout out to Dortch.
Gage.
Yeah. It does make me think, I wonder what does this mean for all of these targets that they have, because we already said that there's a lot of mouths at the eat.
Only one football.
Not that he's going to go out there and get a whole lion's share of the targets, but I do wonder what this means for the Lions, especially when you consider the fact that there's a long football season, and every year our guy Amon-Ra St. Brown, by the end of the year, we find out he's playing through things and he's playing hurt.
Something serious, too,
typically. Yeah, very serious. There was a year when a Vikings player, literally kneeled down on his chest. Yeah. And we know he had to play the rest of the season with protective gear and then some pain. And so I do wonder if a guy like Dortch, who obviously he's not going to be stealing reps away from your three big guns, and then you also have Sam Laporta you have to feed, I do wonder if beyond just the kickoff returns and such, if he's able to be utilized to keep this wide receiver room just a little bit more fresh. And the fact that they say that this guy's attitude, not just that we need someone to play the role of be ready when called upon, but his attitude is that I'm ready for that. This is what I'm here for. It reminds me a little bit of Pacheco, who said, I'm just here to do what this team has asked me to do, and not just that, be ready for whatever moment they'll ask me.
Yeah, we heard that before out of David Montgomery. If this offensive line, I had to take a little shot right there. If this offensive line can play well together, talk about the excitement, B-Lad.
Yes, thank you.
You already know I saw you getting excited. The excitement, you're talking about Tesla in year 2, J-Mo year 5, a healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs now with the understanding. You know what? I asked you. Let me let you finish.
Yeah, so you mentioned the O-line, which actually plays a huge role into what I'm about to say. If this O-line can hold its own and they can solidify a good pass protection, you could start running your 10 personnels. That's when he sees a lot. That's when you'll see 4 wide. You'll see all 4 big guns out there at one point. And he's going to be in that same sort of Khalif Raymond-like role. I do think he's a little bit better than Khalif Raymond. He's obviously younger than Khalif Raymond. I actually was very high on Greg Dortch until he, when he entered the league and had that last little stint with Carolina and then got shipped over to Arizona. And he actually was a plus player for them. Very serviceable, especially in the slot, running those slot slants to kind of clear open another way through the linebackers. He even had a lot of slot fades, a lot of Honda routes. It was very good to see. And when I saw that we signed him this year, it actually brought a little bit of excitement. I was like, well, that's another weapon in a way. And I want them to, go big in the run game and get that 13 personnel out there. But, eventually you're going to have to switch it up. And I know having the pass game coordinator along with the run game coordinator, they can work off, especially that offensive line being good, to actually make a good pass protection. So that way Goff can stand back there and they can run 10 personnel, 11 personnel. That's what, I like to see, especially later in those games when you need to switch it up. He's going to be one of those first maybe safety valves for Goff, especially in the slot, and putting him and complimenting him with Tesla. It's going to be actually kind of fun to watch. I'm excited for that.
One of the biggest things I'm excited for is I want to see them get better on 1st and 3rd down. I think that's where they were depressing last year, is 1st down plays and then what they could do in 3rd down. But when you roll it out there like this, Justin, you talk about the offensive line being much improved. You talk about these guys being healthy and better versions of themselves. You can't help but think that Madden may have got it wrong. Maybe the Lions are #1 offense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have that debate in there, but I want to build off Elad's point. I see that. Because, excuse me, with the way that Drew Petzing likes to call his routes, everything builds off each other. They all have the same approach, and they all look similar, and he will build off of those routes. You like the fake slant, zig route, that's one of Petzing's specialty. That's a guy, I also like, especially with J-Mo trying to develop his route tree, Tesla trying to develop his route tree, you're bringing in a veteran guy who's been with Petzing, who can help teach the offense from a receiver's perspective. Braylon, I'm sure that if a new offensive coordinator was coming in there, having a guy like that to be able to help you get the breaks right and the yards right on the depths, I'm sure that's such a big thing to have in that room. Obviously St. Brown is an artiste when it comes to route running, but in terms of Tesla and J-Mo, that's got to be a big deal for them.
Yeah, 100%. Amon-Ra St. Brown can't be around the facility coaching all the damn time. You got to be able to do it on your own. And when you have a coach like Scotty Montgomery, and you got guys that have been there for 2 years, and you got guys that are understanding of my role, and now you have guys taking it serious. Everybody has the same mission, the same plan. Look, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And it seems like it's a healthy competition, not a competition in the sense in am I 2, am I 3, am I 2, am I 1?
Yeah.
A competition in the sense of who can elevate the most in the time we have? Who can become a even more better version of themselves from now to when the season starts September 10th? That kind of competition. Yo, how many passes you dropped yesterday? Shoot, I didn't drop any. I saw you drop 2. I see he had to correct you on your depth. You know you got to be 16 on that. Oh, you got 14 on that. I think now that's where you see the competition. It's just guys holding each other accountable, trying to get better on the journey.
And everybody being ready when their number is called. It reminds me a lot of those old Saints teams under Drew Brees and some of those teams that I know Dan Campbell was privy to. Remember, they had years, and they housed the Detroit Lions in the playoffs a long time ago, where they literally didn't punt the ball one time.
Yep.
So,
I remember that.
Dan Campbell was a part of that culture. And so, when you look at what this team is able to do now, and you look at kind of the offense that's here, I'm excited. And Greg Thomas in the chat says, I wonder if Petzing has any trick plays. And that's where when you talk about everything from our wide receiver 1 and 2, that dude Justin as well, that offensive line, all the miles that are there, and giving Jared Goff just that much more comfortability. We've seen all the mouths eat before. We've seen them all. And that's where, when you talk about this offense, maybe you're right. Maybe Madden, maybe they should be the number 1 ranked offense. We've seen this team when they've had a little less of the ingredients that's made them great still go and put up stats. But calling out the first and the third downs, putting themselves in uncomfortably longer third downs than they were prior, to the point that even with David Montgomery here, it still was an issue for them. Yeah. I do believe that this year is a year where a lot of those things, they change around, and you're back to knowing when you show up to face the Detroit Lions, you got to bring 25, 30 points to the table.
Yeah, 100%. Whether it was Ben Johnson or David Montgomery or the new staff with Isaiah Pacheco and Drew Petzing, at the end of the day, they stayed ahead of the sticks. That's how you were able to have that success on offense in 24 and 20, even at 23 and 24 and 25 to a certain extent when we had it. But 23 and 24, the peak years for the Lions right now, they stayed ahead of the sticks. So when they were calling a trick play, when they were calling a fourth down, when they were calling a let's go for it, like you were ahead of the sticks. You were ahead of the time. You were in control. Once the Lions get back to being in control, then you'll see the trick plays. Every single offensive coordinator that is coaching in the game today has a level of trick plays. Yeah. The only difference is, tell me if I'm wrong, is do I trust my guys enough to call these trick plays? And I think he's going to trust his guys, but he's going to have some interesting.
But you're saying it like that, the aspect of being in control. Yeah. I think that's a huge one. Last year, there was so much.
As much as you can be in control.
But there was a time where, and Justin, you remember these times at some of these watch parties, you too, where we knew there were certain things you could call on because we knew it was in their control.
Yeah,
I didn't care what was happening in the first half of these Lions games like 2 years ago.
Quarter.
It did feel like it fell off like a lot too, and that's the thing is like a lot of not only the trick plays, but last year in the offense that I realized very early. Not a lot of movement. Like there was no motions. Like back in the day with Ben Johnson, you saw everybody, at least like players motion every single
Even if
play.
it wasn't a trick play, you're right.
It was like your regular stuff, and he was running essentially the same plays, just in different personnel packages and in different formations. And you see so many, like St. Brown, for example, was like, I wish I had a tally or like actually like counted on how many times I saw St. Brown in motion in 2024 versus 2025, because he was even in motion to go crack out DNs. Like it wasn't even just only in the pass game at all. And like that's where you can shift defenses and expose coverages super early and super fast. And Goff and Ben Johnson had a good relationship when it came to that.
And when people talk about the players, like look, the players didn't change. It's the offensive coordinator. It shouldn't have changed that much from coordinator to coordinator. This is what happens in ball. Like whether you know it or not, this is what happens in ball. When you are comfortable and confident in what you are calling and what you are running, you play with a different level of energy, different level of excitement, a different level of optimism. Like you know what's about to happen. Like I've been playing with the Browns where we just were ass, and I'm talking about I knew they knew our plays. I knew it was being called my first year, my second year. You're just going into plays and you're like, I know they know what it is. It's tough to have that energy like, oh, it's going to be successful. I want it to be. I'm going to go out, I'm going to line up. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to do what I can, but they know what it is. The energy is different. The Pro Bowl year, when we came out, Rob Chazinski switched some things around, 16 touchdowns and all that good stuff. Man, we knew we were all right. We knew we were ahead of the game. I knew Jamal Lewis was going to be able to get us into second and 5, second and 6. I knew Kellen wasn't going to be in this place. I knew he was going to call plays a certain way. Now that energy is up, I'm excited. You know what it is. It's a rhythm. It's a cadence. When you feel good about it and when you feel like you know it's good, you play a lot better. All right, we'll take a quick commercial break.
Just real quick, if you don't mind.
Please,
like, you guys are making me feel a little bit more comfortable about the passing thing. I'm still on Lomas Brown's side. I was surprised to hear him say, I'm still in the wait-and-see approach. But when I hear them talk and I hear the excitement about, oh, yeah, these guys are going to have big years and such, and what we know what the offensive line is going to be, I do believe this. Dan Campbell, I guess, should have had as much, and Jared Goff, as much of the foundation down as a John Morton. So when you're bringing in a Drew Petzing, does he have to be a rocket scientist, or does he have to be a guy, or a wizard, or does he have to be a guy that can do some of the things you're talking about? Just bring some of those small wrinkles back that makes your offense a little less predictable, a little less vanilla, a little less to chart. Give the defense a little more to think about pre-snap and things of that nature. Just even those small things seem to be gone. Times where we see pre-snap, Amon-Ra's moving. What's about to happen? Oh, right. Nothing. Just a run to Jahmyr Gibbs, but he got 12 on the play.
Right.
It's like I look forward to those things being back, and I'm like, you know what? If Petzing is not asked to lift the whole weight of Ben Johnson, and he's asked, you know what? Can you come in and restore these things and then build from there? It makes me more confident in what the Lions offense can be.
Baby.
I'm going to show you that I was listening when you were talking about the Lomas report earlier or Big Long. What did he say? The first thing he said, I don't know, Braylon. I got to see. I got to wait and see approach because that's what he said. But what did he finish with? He finished by saying, I still view them as a Super Bowl contender. It's the same thing. We're saying if things go right, if things line up, if the offensive line is what we believe they're going to be, which is better, if Jared Goff comes back and have another one of those years when he's behind this center that you trust and you can see him pick people apart, if everything goes like we believe it can, there's that word optimism, then it should be a Super Bowl contender situation. That's what I heard out of Long. All right, don't get me to talk about Super Bowl this early in July. We'll come back, and when we come back, not everything is all good as it relates to the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, he talks about the defensive line as well as the secondary. I want you to hear these things when we get back. But first, let's get a message in from Icon Auto Repair and Collision. We're excited to welcome them to the family. If you've been in an accident or your vehicle needs repairs, make sure you trust the team at Icon Auto Repair and Collision. With 3 convenient metropolitan Detroit locations, they're all around. They're spaced out so you can get to them and access them. And the reason why you want to get to them and be a part of them if your car gets hit or you have collision damage is because they offer free loaners and they even offer to pay your deductible. So like we said, if anything goes wrong with your baby, take your baby to Icon Auto Repair and Collision and everything will be good.
If you're looking for a career upgrade, then you got to check out Mortgage Pros, the #1 mortgage broker to work for in the state of Michigan. And you know what? We saw their incredible company culture firsthand at their annual block party. I'm just sitting here thinking about it, reminiscing. I'm like, you know what? That was actually a really dope environment. We have boots on the ground there. And their team truly loves what they do, and it shows. With 4.9 stars on Google and over 4,000 reviews, their reputation speaks for itself. So if you're looking for a new job, give Mortgage Pros and Troy a call at 248-416-1361. I'm telling you guys, if I need it, look, Mortgage Pros, if there's a time when I need that job, I'll definitely be making this call because they left an impression upon me. So Mortgage Pros, let the pros handle it.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Some days call for light, others lean bold. What about everything in between? All Day IPA, the easy choice for every day. Citrusy, crisp, refreshing. Flavor you can float with. Light on the hops, big on refreshment. 1's great. 2, even better. Brewed with you in mind. No shortcuts, no fuss. Big on flavor, never too much. All Day IPA. Hop into easy.
building a whole combat sports enterprise in the heart of it in Detroit, and that's what I think is the coolest.
I think with opportunity, right? Like you said, maybe you like to punch people in the face for real, and you know, you want to be a boxer, and you have an option there. Maybe you don't like getting punched in the face, and you want to make, you know, you like the theatricals and the storylines, and so you have an avenue here. Maybe you start at one and then want to change to the other. I don't care. I just want you in the building and know that you have some place to go to explore that. Just having the ability to, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it to the best of your ability? And, you know, it all starts with the kids.
If you're buying a home or refinancing, it is a big decision. And just like in sports, you need the right team behind you. That team is Supreme Lending, and that's why we're proud to have them a part of the Woodward Sports family. As a full-service lender, they boast a 99% close-on-time rate and a 97% customer satisfaction score. Is that even heard of in business? They got it done, though. Here's the game changer. When you apply for an eligible loan, mention Woodward Sports, you will receive up to $500 off your appraisal. To score this deal, call the numbers on your screen. Talk to Chad and Chris at Supreme Lending today. You see Chad's number there, 248-379-5214, and Chris, 720-508-0621. And you guys saw the buddies on the show yesterday. And I'm going to be disappointed if you guys didn't go home last night and get buddies as well. But
80
look,
years in, baby.
80 years in, you still got an opportunity to go and do yourself right, because it doesn't get any more Detroit than Buddy's Pizza. Right now, you can get $10 off your order of $50 or more for dine-in or carry-out by using the new promo code. Listen, WWS26. That's WWS26. Buddy's is the original Detroit-style pizza and has been serving it up since 1946 with 20 locations across Michigan. There's always a Buddy's Pizza near you to cash in on this offer. Find a location near you or order online at buddyspizza.com.
Welcome back in to the Braylon Edwards Show on Woodward Sports 2.0. Hope you guys are having a beautiful Friday. And thanks for rocking with us. Great numbers by you right now. You guys are really engaged in the conversation. We are providing a great conversation. Thanks to Justin Satawa and the crew, B-Lad, as well as We Would Take Camp. Now, Kool-Aid.
Hit that like button, y'all.
I'm not saying pause anymore. I told you I'm only hitting press play. I'm no longer saying pause. I believe I'm too old to be running around talking about pause.
No pause.
And no Diddy and all this crazy stuff. With that being said, you cannot make statements like, do yourself right. Like, what are you talking about? Like, do yourself right. I'm over here like.
I think I pushed him to the limit on that one.
You did.
I'm about to find a way to get a pause out of Brady for the end of the show.
It's not happening. It's not. Hey, chat. Do you hear me? It's not happening.
Chat, y'all got to put some stuff in the chat for us already, fam. Put it in the chat. We gonna have to get Brady. We got to get one pause out.
That's the greatest.
I'm going to read the best one.
It's one of the greatest drops ever. Do we have any super chats that we want to clean up before the next conversation, which I think is a really good one?
Absolutely, we do, Braylon. We got one from Kyan.
My balls is
DJ, $4.99. J-Mo is the Reggie Bush of wide receivers.
So basically saying that when Reggie was in college, he was elite of elite. He was a running back one. He won the Heisman. You believed in him having this phenomenal ability to come in and change the landscape at that position. J-Mo, same thing out of the national championship. But he comes in and he's fighting for the number. Not fighting, wrong word. Let me not get beat up by Pops. He is in the number 2 spot, and we're now in year 5, trying to see if he's going to become that best version of himself. That's not bad. Anytime you compare yourself to Reggie, it's never a bad one. And then like this, only difference is, I think once Reggie got to the league, I love the comparison. Once Reggie got to the league, I think you saw that he was not going to be top 15 running back in the league. You saw that he could be a starting running back on the right team, not top 15. No, he could split some time and be an amazing athlete, amazing talent, split times. Like J-Mo still has that ability. Like when I look at J-Mo, I still see the ability of a guy that can be a number 1 wide receiver with another team, a number 1 wide receiver, a guy that can have 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. Like, I see that ability out of J-Mo. Like, I'm not blowing smoke. I think that's the difference, but I like that comparison a lot. So I guess if Reggie gets to the right team, he did look decent for the Lions in old age.
He actually did.
Yeah.
That was kind of a fun team.
Yeah, he's the most electric player I've ever seen in college. Like, when we played them at USC, we played them his freshman year in the Rose Bowl. When I tell you the defense was so worried about Reggie Bush, like so dialed into him, like they had so many schemes for him that they forgot about the other guys on the offense for them. And Kerry Colbert and Mike Williams and those boys, Lindell White, those boys had a field day.
Man.
Like, yeah, that was squad. That was definitely brutal. And the thing that played into USC is they had a hell of an O-line and they had a heck of a secondary when I was there. Those are two concerns, not concerns, but those are two positions of question for the Detroit Lions. The offensive line, because of the rotating pieces, and now everybody's new. And that secondary, who's playing safety, who's playing free, who's playing strong, what are the starting DBs going to look like? Dan Campbell actually feels the same way and talked about that in this clip.
We've just kind of mostly seen Juice in there with the ones. Is one, how do you like how he's playing so far, and two, is that because you're working Ben back a little slowly there?
Yeah, you're talking about Barch on the back end. Let me start with Juice. Love Juice, man. He's a pro. You know, like he's a pro.
Going into last season, I mean, even the conversation continued to be about his kind of potential. But how much did last year go towards
going in was that we were gonna give him some of the base nickel stuff, and then it didn't, set this whole thing up, and then that's kind of how it works, and then he's not able to go, so we adjust. But he's really, I think, let's give the first shot of more base reps, 1st and 10s, 2nd and 6 or under, and let him play that. And he's done that before. He's an active player around the box, obviously. And so that's on hold till he gets back. But he's really the first guy we think of. We know Mattis can play nickel. I mean, he's lived in it through his whole career. But the intrigue for us, we know he can do that, is the safety, man. And really Max has grown a ton just in a year at that position for us. So, he and Chuck back there again, it's early, but man, they work pretty good together and they communicate, and they're both pretty savvy guys. So.
And that's Dan Campbell talking about the current DBs in the secondary right now, talking specifically about Christian Izzy, and talking about Chuck, excuse me. When you listen to him, he has another clip, and he's going to talk about the offensive line, but it ties back into this too. When you see him up there talking about the offense, and he's talking about J-Mo, he's talking about St. Brown, he's talking about Gibbs or anything, like, he's confident. It's Dan leaning forward. When he gets to talking about the defensive side of the ball, you see him start to move side to side. He said, well, it looks good so far. That secondary has to be better than it was last year, and right now you're down 2 of your biggest pieces, and now you're looking to see what DJ Reed as well as Rocky Sean can be with guys that you're having replace 2 all-pro safeties. It's going to be tall order early on.
That was what was interesting about hearing him talk about what Chuck Clark and Vontae Maddox from the safety position, because those are your playmakers in terms of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch just seemed to be an absolute Tasmanian devil. I know that Taz is supposed to be Pacheco, but in terms of the way Brian Branch played defense, he was all over the place.
Pacheco just got here, bro.
Yeah.
Taz and Brian Branch.
Yeah, and then you got Kirby Joseph, who was an absolute playmaker. He was a game changer, and he was somebody who I love the fact that quarterbacks say, I just didn't even see him there. You look at a guy who got that bag because of the fact that he was flipping the field for the Detroit Lions anytime a team seemed to get in the red zone and test him. And so when you hear Dan Campbell talk up those safeties as well, I'm wondering, does it hit the same as when we hear him say J-Mo's going to have a big year? Because we need these guys to have a decent year at the very least in that secondary.
No, it doesn't hit the same, because I think he's being honest. I think he once again, he doesn't know.
He knows
he knows that they're not going to be Branch. He knows that they're not going to be Kirby Joseph, and he knows that they have a tall order in terms of replacing those guys for however long they're going to be in there. But I think that's when you hear Dan talk about Alim Mcneill being better this year. That's when you hear Dan talk about Talik Williams and the weight that he lost. That's when you hear Dan talk about Aiden Hutchinson. I think what's in front of those guys, what's in front of the secondary, B-Lad, I think that is providing Dan a little bit more of calm as it relates to the situation. That's not a calm situation at all.
No, it's not, and he knows that too. There's a reason why his demeanor changed slightly. You can tell he was piped up in the beginning, but this was a little coach talk here, because like when he says that they're looking good, and this is what some people get confused.
They're looking good, man.
Like they may be looking good in one-on-one reps. They may be looking good in 7-on-7 or their specific indie period. They look good. They look explosive. now he knows, like, translation onto the field, like, how is that going to look when they actually go up against someone else? Now, obviously, they're just big question marks right now, but we've seen Maddox last year, and he had some decent games, and he had some not so decent games. We know Nick Whiteside, where he came from Saginaw Valley State at a Division II level, stepping up to his starting role last year. His first game when he started against Tampa Bay, that was his best game. And then going forward, he kind of, started seeing some more better offenses, and then, we all know what kind of happened after that. But, like, I'm not knocking them as players, but that's just how it was. The thing is Dan knows that, and you guys hit it right on the head, that this isn't Branch and this isn't Kirby. Now, they tried, and, they went and hit the market, and they acquired Chuck Clark and Christian Isian, both of which can actually scream and hit. Like, those are two good safeties in the run defense aspect of things, like Branch is. And they roam around those deep flats, especially on those out routes and those digs, and they come out screaming. They're very good sideline to sideline safeties, or at least they were at one point in their career. And then that in that translation, that's kind of what, Kirby was more of a ball hawk, but Branch was the one who roamed around in those deeper flats, those deeper thirds, and was able to lay the boom on some guys. And I know Chuck Clark, when he was with Pittsburgh, he was doing that all the time. As he was coming down screaming, going from sideline to sideline, and he was more of a rotational. They were very deep, with very good. Yeah, they had a very good secondary in Pittsburgh while he was there, so they was very rotational. But yeah, same exact archetype. You're exactly right. To Brian Branch, same. Branch is better, but Chuck Clark, he's still he's the same archetype.
It's funny. It's almost like when you ask a parent about their kids, and they talk about the first kid, and you say, how's I'm just making up names. How's Charles? Charles is doing well. He made the honor roll again. He's captain this year on the team. Like, he's doing everything the right way. He got into this. Like, everything is good about that. And it's like, what about Brian? Oh, man, Brian, we don't know, Brian, we got to figure it out. We got to give him a little bit more support. He stole the car and left without a license 2 weeks ago. It's like when you talk about your kids, it's how it sounded.
But you know what? I think that we've talked about Petzing and Kafka a lot when we talk about these wide receivers.
You have to
make these things work. And we're talking about the defense here. What is Kelvin Shepherd going to do to make this work? He isn't showing up with your Kirbys and your Branches, which can erase a lot of mistakes, a lot of injuries, and a lot of him still probably learning on the job. Like, for me, this is about what Kelvin Shepherd can do to put this team in a better position schematically, no matter who's out there. I thought that that's what at least Aaron Glenn did well, that bend but don't break between the 20s, but in the red zone, he played to their strengths. What does Kelvin Shepherd need to do this year to put these guys in a better position? Because I do believe you don't have your playmakers, you don't have your stars. You do have at least veteran depth and some young guys mixed in to this rotation. So it's not like, this team is like the cupboard's bare, but he's going to have to bring something to the table.
He's going to have to bring something, but luckily that's why he's played this game. Kelvin Shepherd played this game for 6 years, I want to say 7 years. He played for the Buffalo Bills. He played for these teams. He was in these situations. And what you do is, as a coach, when you get in that offseason, you call on your mentors. You get this game for your mentors. How many times have you seen Dan Campbell at the podium talking about Sean Payton, talking about Bill Parcells, talking about having these conversations? You pick on knowledge. You pick on information. Same thing I guarantee that Kelvin Shepherd is doing, talking to his former mentor and Aaron Glenn. Hey, AG, look, man, just run a couple things by you. Maybe without Brian Branch, maybe without Kirby Joseph. What does it look like? What should we do? What should I do? Like, these are conversations you have with mentors, and luckily he has a damn fine one that actually was the defensive catalyst for 4 years with the Detroit Lions and AG.
Yeah, and there's a super chat we have here from Raw Biz, $2 Canadian, actually. Part two.
Shout out to our.
Yeah.
Oh, he's at part one a little bit higher up too.
Yep. Oh,
shout out
did
to our
he has
friends
two of them?
across the world.
Yeah, I only saw the one. Okay, so part one is Braylon, as a wide receiver, what few things are you looking for in a cornerback to help you, or to help give you a wide receiver an edge to help break a cornerback down throughout your route tree during a game?
First thing I look at the line of scrimmage is man coverage. Like, is this a DB that likes to look at the quarterback and tries to look at the settings, or is he manned up on me? Is he paying attention to me? Is he keeping his eyes on me? Because a lot of times when guys are trying to, look inside, look at you, look inside, look at you, I know right away I got you. I know right away right away there's no way you can focus on everything on the inside and focus on me. So when I see, that's one thing I'm looking at. Two, I'm looking at the feet. I'm looking at the hips. I'm looking at how they play. I'm looking at what that leverage is. Do they take false steps? That means at the line of scrimmage, You know what I'm saying? Are they patient at the line of scrimmage? That means I can give them a little something and they won't move. Darrelle Revis was really good at being patient. If they're a patient wide receiver, then the same little BS that you give everybody, you can't give them. You may have to give them something a little bit more direct. Also, are they physical? Because a lot of times if guys are physical, understand that physicality can get them in trouble or it can help them. I'm a physical wide receiver, so when they get physical with me, it's a problem for them. I'm just looking. These are some of the things I'm looking at the line of scrimmage. And once the play starts, I like to be physical. That's my first rep. First rep, I'm running at the DB, trying to run him over, trying to jack him up, put my hand up under his face mask, like I'm mushing him. I want to see what type of individual are you, because how you respond to that is how the rest of this day is gonna go.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on.
I like that, though.
And Rob Biz with the part 2 super chat. Do you see those same weaknesses in our cornerback room?
That was a setup. Man, that was very well done. In some of the DBs, you do see a level of that. I think he's no longer here, so I don't have to speak on him. But you did see it with a guy that's no longer here. You do see it with DJ Reed at the line of scrimmage a lot of times. Like he's inconsistent with his footwork, and he's inconsistent with what he wants to trust. And I don't think that's just him. That's the defense as a whole. But I see it in DJ Reed. Rock Ya-Sin, I think, is better with his technique. He's more of a technician as it relates to the other DB. When you see him, you do see good technique. You do see good footwork. It's a shorter DB, if you will. I see some of it. I see a level of it. I would have fun.
Hey, so you're saying against this DB room in prime Bray shape, it's over?
Yeah, like 100%.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, I cook all those guys, but it would be fun. It would have been fun to play in this play against Kirby Joseph and play against Brian Branch, because they're the type of players that I believe they bring the best out of you. Yeah. Like Kirby Joseph is going to talk, you know what, but also he's going to be out there. He's going to be getting his guys raised, getting his guys in position.
He's not ducking any smoke.
Not at all. And I think Brian Branch is an aggressive one. He's the one that finds Brian Branch has little man complex in the best particular way, because you see him go into games and go hit the biggest dude on the field. Always.
Slap him.
He is going to find the biggest guy on the field. He's going to hit him and say, I am here all day. This is nothing to me. And that gets guys going. That gets the rest of the squad going. So that's why I meant it in the best possible way. He's going. What do they tell you if you go to jail? Like, if you go to jail, you'll go fight. Like the old adage, go to jail, find the biggest dude, knock him out. Please, Lord, don't ever do that.
No, it's something about those Bryans, though, man. Look, my little brother's name is Brian. And I remember the day I saw him flex one of the bigger dudes on the football team.
On the yard.
Out in the yard, man. And it was just like, yo, all right. And Brian Branch, you're right. For some of those guys with the whatever complex you want to call it, sometimes it don't work out for them. But with Brian Branch, right away, he didn't waste any time making a mark with early on against the Chiefs with the interception and then the Bijan Robinson hit.
It's just something about the strong safety position in the NFL. When you get guys to start that position, like not all guys, but when you get the ones that are at ones, they all feel the same. Like Brian Branch feels like Brian Westbrook. There's another Brian. They feel like Brian Westbrook.
Brian's there.
Like Troy Polamalu was a nut, was a recluse, would do all those things.
Is his middle name Brian?
So that's a good point. But yeah, those sides, they just, man, I told you, Brian Dawkins hit me one time on that Z search. Them guys, man, they make it happen. But that was Dan about the defensive backfield, talking about having new guys, having to step up, making moves. He also talked about the offensive line, which is another serious topic here in Detroit. When we were great, it was the offensive line. Got Kate Mays, got Blake Miller, moved Penei Sewell over. What is that going to look like this year? Dan Campbell talks about that.
Let's take a break before we get into that. Bray, if you do not mind, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, why don't you tell us, let me tell you actually about Mad Packs. Mad Packs, we had Mad Packs before the show. This show's powered by Mad Packs today. That's why we're having such a great time. Now available at a retailer near you. They got the Boom Shakalaka and the High-Low, 1.3 grams of the best weed in the planet with live resin and keef coated. They don't canoe. They hit great, and that's a tough thing to find on the live resin side of things. So make sure you tap in with them today.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Experience summer in Detroit with pro soccer at Keyworth Stadium. Every Detroit City FC match brings a new reason to show up early and stay late. Tickets available now at DebtCityFC.com.
This is a hungry bear. This is Carl and Jeff. Carl isn't worried because he has focused energy to spare thanks to Thrive energy pouches. Jeff didn't use Thrive when Carl offered. The bear is happy about that. Don't just survive. Thrive.
It's game on at Art and Jake's. Wings, burgers, pizza, and ice-cold drinks served up with attention to detail. Wall-to-wall TVs, great service, and a vibe that keeps your crew coming back. Art and Jake's, a sports bar setting with a fine dining flavor.
Art and Jake's is the place to be, or A&J if you're using that A&J app. Look, man, fine dining, fine sports food, fine sports app, atmosphere. The vibes are there. 80 TVs, wall-to-wall, action-packed, non-stop. You should have been there at FIFA. They kept the TVs rocking. It was on and popping. And then also, too, they have 22 beers on tap. You can come in there seasonal. They make it happen for you. It's just a good vibe. The service is amazing. So is the food. Sounds like this is the place for you because it's definitely the place for us. A&J, check them out on the mobile app. The state's title agency, 20-plus years in the game. My guy in the B-side, they just do it right. The expertise that he has, also being a legacy himself. His mother's been in the realty game for 40 years. Sorry, Miss Side, if I got you in trouble with that. But she's been doing it at a high level, and so is her son. You talk about that expertise and the things that they can do. Buying a home, refinancing, it doesn't matter. They make the process simple. They make the process convenient. And they even have late night as well as weekend closings for you. So to me, it sounds like you should sign with the state's title agency. But what do I know? See you soon.
Validating who he is just because of, some of the stuff he had to overcome during the first half of the season as far as lack of targets and all that.
Yeah, you're talking about J-Mo.
Safety group you kind of got right now, Izzy and Maddox, Clark.
Same guy every day, very consistent. We know he can play center. And some of the guard stuff is, hey, let's Mahogany's out right now. Talked about Barch. We're being smart with Barch. We hope we start to get some team reps next week with him. That's the plan. I would say up to this point, I hate to say too much about O-line, D-line until we get pads on. But I would say there's just a couple of things he's gotten edged on here early. Now it's also going against Alim Mcneill and Max practicing really well right now. And so some of this stuff will come. But I'm glad we got juice.
Follow up to that. I mean, you can't do much until you put the pads on. But from your scope, what does cohesion look like for an offensive line whenever you have a lot of new pieces or people moving around to different spots?
Well, it's really, I say this all the time, but it's between the O-line and the DBs. I feel like that's the most correlation when you start talking about communication and how they flow. And a lot of times things happen without a word being said. Once you really get to know the guy you're next to, and you got a smart headsy group, and they're pretty aware, instinctive, you start anticipating these things. You start anticipating the movement, the spikes, the pressure, and you're working all as one. Like, okay, Sewell knows that he feels that he's already stepping down. And the guard, if he feels it, then he knows I don't need to go flying out to Sewell. I can just sit here and wait because Sewell will pass it to me, for example. Otherwise, you're stepping on each other, right? Sewell's stepping it. He feels it. You don't feel it. I stepped on Sewell's foot. Sewell's tripping. And that's what happens. And it takes time, man. And there again, the faster we can get these 5 established, and they just need reps together over and over and over and over, then the better you're going to be. And it's a work in progress. We will be much better by the time we hit game 1. But this thing is going to go now. It's going to take, even when we get it there, because we have some young players, they're going to grow as the season goes. It's going to take.
I like that conversation. It actually looks like Dan's having more fun today. It looks like he's a little bit more loose. Seemed like there was a smile in there. He cracked the joke when he was talking about the gadget. He said maybe it's gadget. Seemed like he's a little bit more lax today, and I like that. But what I don't necessarily like is when you just look at it, it's going to take a second for that chemistry to build. When Penei Sewell steps out to the left, Christian Mahogany is a guy that didn't necessarily grade out the best last year. What is Christian Mahogany and left guard going to be this year? What is Cade Mays? who necessarily wasn't the highest graded center last year as well. How is he going to take a jump? How is he going to get better? And then you move to Tate Rowledge, we believe is going to be better. And then Blake Miller, once again, a rookie starting at the right tackle position in place of the left tackle now, Penei Sewell. That chemistry, getting those guys together, being able to have that, I feel it, I know it already. It takes some time. How much time did the Lions have?
That's my question, because in years past where they had players that had that chemistry supposedly on the offensive line, they still needed, like he would say, our offense is going to need 5 to 6 weeks to get things together. So that's where I start to question with this offensive line. I am glad that they brought in the talent, but how much is this talent going to be able to overcome the issues that come with the chemistry that needs to be built? It's not like it would just be us up here, making it more than it is. It's Dan Campbell stating exactly what these players are going to have to do.
Hey, Justice
Peace out,
Satawa.
boys.
He's going to see Spider-Man for the second time. No, I'm joking.
Hey, go. But that's where I'm just wondering, like, how much time is it going to take for this offensive line, which we know has to be honestly the best group on this team for this Lions offense to be what it's supposed to be.
The good news, realistically, just approaching it from a former football standpoint, which I never really say that on the show, is they are going to get better. Realistically, we're not worried about the left tackle. Cade Mays is a better version of what you had at center last year. Start there, hard stop. Like, Cade Mays is way better than Graham Glasgow was for you at the center position. Hard stop.
So talent alone gives us a little more.
And now you have Cade Mays working with former teammate of mine, Hank Fraley, who we know to be one of the better offensive line coaches in this league. He'll allow him to he will help him take that step, because he also played that same position for the Philadelphia Eagles as well as the Cleveland Browns. Tate Rowledge, we saw him get better last year. We saw what the last 7 games were for Tate Rowledge. So we saw the improvement last year. So we can only imagine what that improvement is going to be this offseason, B-Lad. And then at the right tackle position is your rookie. Rookie's going to take some time. He's going to take some time. We talk about the leverage issues that he had coming out of Clemson. Talk about the strength. We love the fact that he likes to maul players. I just think looking at it through those lenses, it's going to be a much better offensive line, and that's why you see him getting excited, talking ball, kind of lackadaisical, because I think he understands that he has a better squad this year.
Yes, this
offensive line.
Yes, this is your identity, Detroit Lions. Ever since you guys started winning, the O-line has been a huge factor in that, and we have been just absolutely great at running the ball for a couple of years now. Last year, obviously, seeing the fall off, like, it was the most obvious thing right away, and seeing that we had struggles on the offensive line, obviously after specific players departing, not playing for us anymore. But if we can get the O-line back to the same standard as it was back in 2022, 2023, 2024, for example, we will be just fine. Like, it's like, but like I said, it doesn't just happen overnight, though. The offensive line is one of those positions where it's a kind of a whole unit in itself. It's the most unified group on the field. Everybody has to be on the same page. With receivers, there's a little leeway, and you can kind of run. You have a little bit more creative freedom. As an offensive line,
gotta be on point.
You have to be on point every single play. You have to know what your brother is doing next to you, and that's the whole thing. And obviously, that's what drove the team. That's where grit came from. That's where trench play came from, and that was our identity for the entire Dan Campbell regime. Was the offense and the defensive line, and that's they got the offensive line right. They got the offensive line right, but the defensive line is still.
Go ahead, Kool-Aid. I hear you.
No, we used to be able to count on it like clockwork. We knew we're shutting down everybody's running back with our defensive line, and we knew that our offensive line was going to give Jared Goff all the time he needed, and give our dynamic running back group all the time that they needed. And it's like, coming into these things with these types of questions, I really do believe they made the moves necessary along the defensive line and the offensive line to try and address and get back to, as you called it, man, that trench work.
It was that I'll tell you what, it was a thing of beauty too, and I'll never forget. And this is where obviously I knew our offensive line was great, but this exact moment, and I knew, I was like, I don't think anybody could stop us. It was week 1 versus the LA Rams in overtime when David Montgomery got the ball 6 times in a row, pounded the rock every play, and we ended up winning on that. And I'm like, nobody's gonna be able to hang with us for the rest of the year. And it's so much. It was so good to see. Like, I feel you, man. Like, I want that so bad. Like, I want that back so bad. We felt empty without it last year. Like you knew when our pass game wasn't at our strongest.
It was empty calories last year.
It was just clockwork with the run game. Like that, we knew that we could just beat teams alone by running the ball 75% of the time, and Goff probably loved it. I don't doubt it in the slightest bit. I mean, when you see your running backs cooking like that every single game, like that's, it's such a great thing to see, and that's honestly, like, in the offensive side of things, that's how you win. That's how you win.
And that's the thing. You're talking about the 2024 season where that was the best offensive line for me as it relates to the Lions, because that's when you had Kevin Zeitler.
That's
when you had Kevin Zeitler at right guard. Like, that was the version of the Lions. Like, that overtime game, that was the introduction of Kevin Zeitler as a Detroit Lion. And boy, was he something. Too bad we didn't bring him back for the 2025 season.
I thought we were going to at one point. Yes, and DJ Reed, yes.
Man, that was definitely a time.
I got to ask you, though.
I see you got that Pistons hat on, man.
I
see you rocking the Pistons. What's up with Jalen Duren?
You know what? What's up with his agent?
That part.
that's the crazy part.
I just feel like along the way, I feel like as we come up here and we talk like because players aren't going to be logical to the conversation. Like, what we say should happen is not how players and agents and not how they're conditioned. That boy got voted, and I text you. Mm-hmm. I text you when this happened. Tell me I'm lying. I said, when they announced All NBA Team 3, I said, that's a problem for the Pistons. Did I not text you that?
You texted me that. We talked about it on Woodward Pistons as well, and I told people, be prepared for 44 at least. And I know that he wants more than that, so – it's gonna be interesting. What up, Dobie lad?
Do you think Trajan would kind of piece that together? Like, what do you think is gonna happen with that? Like, I feel like there's not a solidified market for Duren right now. That's the one thing that throws me off a bit.
Let's do this.
Sorry,
no, not a problem at all. Let's set this up this way. You guys have been loving football. We've been cooking and rocking with football all week. We got sweet potato in the studio, but we got Kool-Aid Camp on the desk right now. Let's get to a little bit of the Pistons conversation that was late to Jalen Duren. We would be doing a disservice if we didn't do that. We can get right back into the Lions for, let's say, last 12 minutes, or maybe even talk Michigan, because Kyle Whittigham had some interesting things to say about the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry.
Frustrating, man.
I just don't understand why coaches that come in don't understand what the rivalry is as it relates to Michigan and Ohio State. Or maybe there is no rivalry anymore.
No.
Maybe there's no rivalry anymore. Maybe there's no rivalry. I'm just saying, because how they value it, he's not the first, and I don't know if he'll be the last. Let's take a quick commercial break. Cam, tell me, this ain't your daddy's dad.
Yeah, Dad.
Hey, I got you, B. No problemo. Put down. Hey, no more gut-rotting energy drinks, y'all. Because you can get down on Thrive Energy pouches. But check it out, Kool-Aid, you already know. It ain't your daddy's dip. It is tobacco-free, nicotine-free, mental powerhouse of smart caffeine, no jitters, zero bloating. Thrive can be found online at dipstop.com. Remember to use that promo code WSN for 15% off your entire order. Found exclusively at all Market Fresh and Market Square locations. Thrive Clean Energy. They flip and work, y'all.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Some days call for light, others lean bold. What about everything in between? All Day IPA, the easy choice for every day. Citrusy, crisp, refreshing. Flavor you can float with. Light on the hops, big on refreshment. One's great. 2, even better. Brewed with you in mind. No shortcuts, no fuss. Big on flavor, never too much. All Day IPA. Hop into easy.
You're building a whole combat sports enterprise in the heart of it in Detroit, and that's what I think is the coolest.
I think with opportunity, right? Like you said, maybe you like to punch people in the face for real, and you know you want to be a boxer, and you have an option there. Maybe you don't like getting punched in the face, and you want to make, you like the theatricals and the storylines, and so you have an avenue here. Maybe you start at one and then want to change to the other. I don't care. I just want you in the building and know that you have some place to go to explore that. Just having the ability to what do you want to do and how do you want to do it to the best of your ability? And, it all starts with the kids.
The next generation of Detroit sports media is here. Crunch Time is back on Woodward Sports. Join Jeff Iafrate and Booner Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Taking Detroit sports coverage to the next level with massive interviews, viral moments, and the best live reactions. Get ready, Detroit. The young guns are taking over. Crunch Time on Woodward Sports.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. My computer was acting up. It is very hot in the studio, so I'm not surprised. But Loom just made summer even better, introducing the new Buzz and Energy from Loom. It's the same smooth THC buzz you love, now paired with a clean boost of caffeine from green tea extract made with real fruit and no artificial flavors. Buzz and Energy is a bold flavor and light in calories and built for a long summer day, even longer nights. Try refreshing peach and raspberry lemonade, crack a can, catch a buzz, and keep the good vibes going. Available now at all 40 Loom locations across the great state of Michigan. And learn more at loom.com today.
And welcome back. Look, we just want to say, man, we appreciate the attendance today. You guys have been cooking with grease, engaging over 300 the whole show.
Bang, bang, bang.
We appreciate that. We know there were some super
cooking.
chats.
Big chat,
we
baby.
read some of the super chats, and then read it for me again. Read it exactly as it is, so I can answer politely.
His super chat or his comment?
Both.
Okay, I will start with the super chat from Raw Biz, which we
Raw
did.
Biz.
Raw Biz.
We did see, but
Raw
the
Biz.
conversation was going strong, and we thought it would be more appropriate after the break. The most important part of a wide receiver is the first 5 steps off the line of scrimmage. Our defense is built inside out. Our D tackles meant to push to disrupt the QB's drop back, forcing better pass rush angles for our defensive ends. Giving, and then there's a blank here. Let's see if I can. I think that's the last of it right there. But that's what he had to say. And his comment was, which we apologize for not getting to it, sir, earlier. You guys are doing a disservice by not addressing my super chat.
I will tell you this: we read your first 2 super chats, and we appreciate you sending in, man. Thank you for listening to the show. If this is your first time, man, we hope that you come back, and we hope that you feel valued. We'll read them. Sometimes we're in the heat of a battle, we're in the heat of a conversation, and we have to wait till that conversation kind of takes its course to be able to fit that comment in. So don't feel like we're not paying you attention. We are, and we definitely appreciate you.
Yes, he hit back too. He said,
we appreciate you.
Raw Biz, he says, usually I don't watch Woodward. You're going to have to change that. Watch a little bit more. But he says, but I F with Braylon. Mr. Edwards is good peeps.
I appreciate you. And he
Yes,
knows
sir.
ball, too. I'm listening to the questions,
He
how he
does know
asked them,
ball.
and then what he said. The last one wasn't a question. The last one was a statement. He was telling us what it is
Oh,
and how
yeah.
the lines play. So appreciate you. Somebody
Tap in with
knows ball. Appreciate you,
Yeah,
Raw
baby.
Biz. Spitting that. And he has a good name.
He does have a good
He
name.
has a really good name. Kool-Aid. All right, we've been talking about Detroit Lions. I know everybody's excited. Just for a second, just a 5-minute conversation, maybe 7.
Goodness.
Jalen Duren, it's still going. It's still maintaining, and now it just seems as though he has stuck his heels, him and his agent, into the ground, and he believes he is owed more than maybe he deserves. And I get it. When you make all NBA 3, this is where the bag is. Who knows if he makes the all NBA team again? What have you been hearing? What is it feeling? It's starting to feel a bit aggressive, if you will.
You know what? It's a situation where we've seen the Pistons remain firm in saying that they want Jalen Duren here.
Okay.
Every time we've heard rumors in the past pop up about, the Pistons might want to, shop him. They might want to have him go out there and see what he can get as it relates to a sign and trade. We've heard the organization come back and release either through the beat writers or on their own volition, effectively. No, we want to get something done.
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey, I got to see him down at Summer League. And he
Shout out
also
to
was
D-Case.
interviewed on NBA.com, NBA TV, said the same thing as it relates to our conversation, and that's they're working to bring him back. They're not picturing a next season and beyond where Jalen Duren is not a Detroit Piston. They like him. They like what he brings to the table. And obviously, when you make that All-NBA third, that was the first thing, man. I was telling people, even at the end of the season, before anything was locked in. And then as the playoffs were going, I told people, I said, look, he gets that All-NBA third team. I'm sorry, you're going to be locked into having to pay him big bucks if you want to retain Jalen Duren. He's a young player who would have put up the necessary accolades that makes him worth this. So now the accolades say this is what he's worth.
Yeah.
And that's the conundrum. And my thing is this. If you want to play in Detroit and they're willing to offer you the max or within that range that another team can sign you to this year, get the deal done. Sign the deal. Get this thing over with. Get into practice. Get into getting the chemistry right, because people have figured out how to stop the aspects of Cade and Duren. Because why does this matter? Training camp starts in September.
Yeah.
It starts in September. So that means this. Yes, you're going to come back to camp, and now everybody's working together, but on what J.B. Bickerstaff is now laying the foundation of. So I am hoping that they don't cost themselves, or that they're at least getting together during the offseason to continue building up the chemistry that they need. I think you heard Trajan early on say, we got like 10 or 11 guys in our gym right now. But you
and Duren's not one of them.
And there you go.
And when you watch it, and when you look online, it doesn't seem like he's in any other gym either.
Look, I look back over the last 4 to 5 years, and we know he's worked, but you just wonder exactly what environments is he placing himself in to get better.
Sure.
You know, I'm serious, because when you look at it all, when you look at all of the clips, right, we've even seen Andre Drummond in various different settings. Now, we've learned not to go for the head fakes on these practice videos, and Stanley Johnson scoring, 82 points in OVO Summer League and all of that
And
stuff.
also, everybody doesn't post.
Everybody don't post, but my thing is, like, the only time I've seen Duren online effectively in these off seasons is with Cade Cunningham at the USA Select teams. Now, Cade, on the other hand, you're seeing him with both, yes, his camp, Ashton and Cannon and those guys, but you're also going to see him in the offseason working out with other NBA players, NBA legends, back home as well for him, which is in Texas, working out. And that's the thing that I'm wondering, like, you've heard other people suggest it. Now, the one confirmation I do have is this, that every summer Jalen Duren does work out with Rasheed Wallace. I don't know for how much time, but I do know that goes back to his time at Memphis when Rasheed was his assistant coach for a little bit underneath Penny Hardaway. But that's the one confirmation I do have in terms of, like, a player that he's actually settling down with and trying to learn the ins and outs of whatever he's teaching him. I wish we got more of that information of what he's doing during off seasons, but we at least know that that's there, and that him and Cade, they do get together every off season. Just haven't heard it this year.
Yeah, just wanted to get the update, man. I know there's not a ton to the story, but just wanted to see what that looks like, because it just seems like that all NBA 3 has him like, look, I ain't trying to hear it. If you ain't talking 44 or more,
$50 million.
exactly,
He can get to like 57 and change, 58 million, and that's more than Cade though.
What does that look like if he? Because right now it's called holding. I don't want to say holding hostage. I'm not in those rooms. I don't know what it is, but it feels a level of hostage. What happens if he does get 48, 49, 50? What does it do for the locker room? What does it do for the conversation? What does it do for your captain and Cade and how he's looking at you? Or is it like Amon-Ra St. Brown said about Jahmyr Gibbs? Like, it's all good, man. He gonna get his bag.
I think it is that. It's a little bit of that, because it's going to tell itself right. I don't believe that there's any way this contract goes to him if your top guy on this squad and Cade Cunningham isn't comfortable with it happening. And so I do believe that he's going to be looking for the growth and the potential ceiling of Jalen Duren to take another step forward in this coming season. And that's what he has to do. I liked how Jalen Duren looked in the regular season. It was more than what I asked for of him. And in the playoffs, whether we hated it or not, it was one of the better big men. This is so sad. It was one of the biggest, the best big men performances that we've seen in the Pistons playoffs in a long time.
And it was a way less version of him than we saw in the regular season.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's like, it's just slippery slope. And B-Lad said something interesting about the market. I think that the market is selective right now because they know next year we can just come to the free agent market and do what we do. Yeah, sure. And so I do believe that it's a situation where when the Pistons, if you were going to trade him, if you were going to go away from Duren, it would have been realistically this past season that we had just gone through, and that's what we've seen them do in the past. So I do believe, at least his camp believes, that they can get somebody, Sacramento Kings, Chicago Bulls, to do something stupid. And I told people this. Sure. I told people the Lakers would be one of the teams to try the Pistons. And that's where when you hear Trajan Langdon then go and say, I think we need to tie up your books a little bit more first. What did the Lakers try to do right after? They tried to go and bark up the Jalen Duren tree.
Yeah, he was too black, though.
Like the thing is about
they're gonna bring him off the bench if he went there, huh?
100%. Make it quick. We're going to commercial.
Yeah, I was
break
gonna say
clean the show up. Go ahead, go ahead.
when it comes to the market, it feels like to me, and I'm no basketball elite like you, Kool-Aid, but from the outside looking in,
we're all ball knowers.
Yeah, you know, a little bit here and there. But the thing is, to me, when this contract that is displayed here, it feels like they are hoping that Jalen Duren becomes the player that they want him to be, but it's going to be at the very end of the deal. Like he's proven that he's a good player. Like I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but he's still super, super young, and that's kind of a drawback in a way that goes against what he wants, because teams are going to ultimately take a chance on not a fully developed player yet, and they're hoping that he can come out to be the fully, the player that they want them to be, or him to be, at the very, very end of his deal. And that's where it kind of lacks that's where the market question
Cade
came
was
from.
top 7 in MVP voting. You know what I mean? Think about it. Think about what he was achieving that made the Pistons say, yeah, this guy's getting the bag. All-star. He had done some things that proved he's one of the top 15 to 20 players in the league. And if you look at the past 2 MVP votings, top 7, top 5. Though I like the potential for Jalen Duren, has he proven that he's that level of a star to get a contract commensurate of what you're going to see that Cade Cunningham has?
I think the problem with Jalen Duren is the age. It's the age. And we'll take a quick commercial break after this. The problem is the age. He came in the league so young. So even though he's still only he's 22 years old.
Yeah, he's young.
He's young, but he's done 4 seasons. Yeah. He's been here 4 seasons. He's put in 4 years of work. He's been in 2 playoff series. Absolutely. In his mind, it's just like somebody getting drafted out of college is 21, 22. Like, after 4 years, they're 26.
Right.
They're 25. And then by that time, you're like, okay, cool. I've done what I'm supposed to. Now it's time to get my money. He's put in 4 years of work for the Detroit Pistons. However, he's still not to where we believe in terms of deserving that money, in terms of what can be paid, because we've seen the inexperience show up in the playoff 2 years in a row. And I think that's what it is. It's how young he was when he got drafted. All right. When we come back, we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll hear from Justin's favorite, which is Amnesia. But do you guys want to jump back into the lines and finish with Dan Campbell on Derek Barnes, because we talked about him yesterday, or do you want to jump into the University of Michigan stuff said by Kyle Whittigham? Just get a feel where you see, check the pulse.
Yeah, I'll drop a poll in the chat and see where they're at with it. But
hit the like, y'all.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about Justin's favorite, Amnesia. Here we go. One of the crazier reads here. Amnesia is proud to be available at the top 21 or top dispensaries across Michigan, with multiple products for adults 21 and up. Their newest launch is the Switch. A 2-gram dual-chamber disposable featuring liquid diamonds. I do not have one on me, but this is when Justin takes his long rip
Clouds
over here,
everywhere.
and he's holding back a cough in his chest because it just hits him so hard. But with 2 chambers and 2 different flavor profiles, you can enjoy it the left or the right, or both together for a unique combination. Discover your new favorite with the Switch by Amnesia.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Finally, life-enhancing LASIK surgery at a price you can afford. Michigan's most experienced eye surgeon, Dr. Yaldo, is offering the most advanced LASIK at just $1,699 per eye, regardless of your prescription. Imagine not just being free from contacts and glasses, but actually seeing better without them. This limited 2026 spring offer is thousands less than others charge. Go to YaldoEyeCenter.com for your free evaluation and save.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Looking to take your relaxation up to the next level, then you got to check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest. They carry top brands like Infinity and Osaki, making it the go-to destination for premium comfort and cutting-edge wellness technology. I would know because I was there for the Super Bowl watch party this year, and it was pretty good selection there or not Super Bowl, gosh, I'm tripping, the NFL Draft. Be sure to visit Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, and creator of the #1 YouTube channel for massage chair reviews at the Wellness Doc. Book your visit today at massagechairhouse.com or simply scan the QR code above my head on your screen. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
I was going to say that was a very comfortable Super Bowl for you. Here, real quick. Who played
the watch party, the NFL Draft. Actually.
Watch this real quick. Who played Super Bowl last year?
Oh, snap.
See, this
Seahawks. I don't care.
Seahawks this is the new
Seahawks.
era.
Shout out to Sam Darnold.
So much happens so fast. NFL schedule, all other things included, like the stuff we do, all the stuff we talk about.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, if you asked who played in the Super Bowl, you jump right into it, jump right into the moment, jump right into the plays. Like now, Super Bowls, they come and they go like fast. Like
fast. It feels like people have already forgotten that.
It was a lackluster
Darnold
Super Bowl.
won one.
It's a lackluster Super Bowls. Not any real moments.
I wonder how it's going to be when the Lions win one. It's got to have a story behind it because they're one of the oldest franchises in football, and they still don't have, let alone a Super Bowl win, a Super Bowl experience.
You saw how New York looked after the Knicks just won their championship.
Oh,
yeah. It's going to get
Cubs
ugly real quick.
Oh, yeah. The Joe Louis fist will end up in the Detroit River.
Facts. I'm not going to lie.
I agree. Check this out then.
It's going to be me on it.
It's going to be you on the float.
Serving down the river.
Where would you?
I tried to get him, but he
where would you go? Lions win. Here we go. That's a good question. Lions win the Super Bowl. Obviously, a massive parade downtown. It's probably Woodward. They probably go Woodward to Woodward.
Yeah.
Where are you watching from? Are you going to the parade?
Yes.
Are you going to a certain spot of the parade? Are you going to Ford Field or wherever they're going to be at? Are you watching at home? Like, where would you watch the parade from?
I'd be there. I would be in the flock of people, Braylon. You know those people that were climbing the street poles?
You seem like a shirtless fan.
I don't know.
Shirtless, Lions cap on.
I really could go tarps off if I wanted to, but no, I scream every game that I go to. I'm yelling so loud I lose my voice by the end of the game, and like I would be downtown with everybody else because I was there after they beat the Rams in the playoffs for the first time, like when they for their first playoff game in however many years it was. I was downtown and oh my gosh, you would have thought it was like that was like the Super Bowl celebration, like everybody running around, like everyone was just running, snowball fights left and right, people screaming, honking their horns, traffic was backed up miles on the lodge, and like once you finally get into the downtown, because LTU you just hop on the lodge and you're there in 10 minutes pretty much, and once we hit down there, it was like you see people standing outside of their car, like their sunroofs and stuff, like throwing stuff, like it was. I've never seen energy in the city of Detroit like that in my entire life, and now I know if they win the Super Bowl, it would be like 5 times that. And I was there for the draft too when it was in Detroit, and that was the most people I've ever seen down there in my entire life.
Set a record.
It was like you couldn't even move, like shoulder to shoulder, like you're walking around. I was seeing people I knew from high school, people I knew from different sporting teams that I've been on in the past, and like it was just a big old community, and everyone was just happy. Like and that's how it felt after the playoff game too. But I just know it would be on a different, complete, like I can't even comprehend, my mind can't even comprehend what it would look like. You know what I'm saying? And like even in the NFC Championship at halftime, we're looking around, and I'm like, man, this is really how it feels to beat the game. Like, I didn't say it, but that's all that's going through my head. Everybody was just on cloud 9. And it's just like those AI generated pictures of people saying, what would Detroit look like? Like, that actually might be true.
Your energy matches Detroit's playoff woes.
Yes.
It matches the lack of a Super Bowl appearance.
Yep.
It matches,
therefore, I've been hurting, chat.
I can hear it. I'm just listening to you. Like, you sounded so excited. Like, you were visualizing the moment the Lions won the Super Bowl and what would the parade look like and where I would be. Because I remember, like, that's a lot of people feel that way, man. Like, that's why I'm so passionate about these Detroit Lions.
That's why I know they'd band up with me.
Yeah. I mean, I was downtown after the Pistons won in 2004 for the parade.
Ooh.
That was absolutely fantastic. It was crazy. Wow. You know what was absolutely crazy? I was downtown for one of the Red Wings championship parades. That was insane, just a sea of absolute red and white. And I know with the Pistons, I feel like, golly, it was I feel like Hart Plaza was where they ended, and that was just that was the scene, where they sit, they're talking. I'm wondering where the Lions would do their stop. Is it at Hart Plaza? Or are they Campus Marches?
Either Campus Marches or the Spirit of Detroit.
One of those two?
Like, I like the Spirit of Detroit, but you can have people on Jefferson and Woodward kind of carve out that lane, if you will. But that's where the draft was. I drafted a player for the Jets. I was on stage. So, like, when you looked out at that mass of how Campus Marches was and how they set that up, it was fire. So I can imagine them being there as well because they've already done it once. Man. And, I mean, you're talking about people.
Get there, guys. Get there, Lions.
Yeah, we need you.
Let's go.
I know those tickets are awfully expensive, but we need you, baby.
Now, I remember the night you're talking about. That first playoff win was crazy.
Yeah.
We were at the studio. I remember doing the postgame show. Stick, Anson, myself, Spin Dog was in the building. Spinny was on one that night.
Also, it was Matt Stafford, too.
Yes.
That just added to the story. Yes. That added to. Then you really were like, okay, this has to be the year. Like, you beat Matt Stafford at the crib for the Rams. Like, it felt right.
I didn't know what to do with myself with that win. I like that feeling was crazy that I'm sitting here now realizing I don't know what's going to happen if we win a Super Bowl. Like, personally, and like the whole entire
How many kids you got? How many kids you got now?
Post Super Bowl or pre? After the Super Bowl?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Queen Kool-Aid.
Exactly. It's like, what's his name? Macaulay Culkin's brother, Kerry Culkin, who plays in Succession. Every time he wins an award, he goes to the podium. He's telling his wife, hey, look, I won this Emmy. Hey, I won this Golden Globe. Hey, I won this Oscar. And they have a kid every time.
A year after the Super Bowl, y'all going to see me walking around with a replica Super Bowl in one arm and a new Kool-Aid jammer in the next, bro.
Lombardi Trophy, man.
I love the fact that he said the Lombardi Trophy before the new baby. Just throwing that out there. We appreciate you. It's been a hell of a week out, you guys, man. Thank you for hitting the smash that like button. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for rocking with us, vibing with us, adding that content, new content, and new people. Shout out to Raw Biz for all the content and appreciate the questions. Appreciate the comments. Kool-Aid, always a pleasure to do this. Rock and roll with you. Shout out to my boy B-Lad who closed the show today.
Yes, sir, Ski.
And the ever constant, my guy, Sweet Potato Cam. How you doing over there? We'll see you guys. Enjoy the weekend. We'll be back next week. More Lions camp. Go outside and enjoy the weekend. We'll see you.
Peace, y'all.
Most talked